shut it off.
That's money better spent.
Okay.
I don't like that one, Bill.
I don't care.
I'm just gonna shut it off, totally off, power down.
I'm with you.
I hope that did it, but I don't know.
I'm all silenced.
Okay, it is 4:30. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll have roll call first.
Before the open meeting. Harris,
Here.
Reisig,
Here.
Meyer,
Here.
Blue,
Here.
Parsley.
Here.
I want to mention that for public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available at the county clerk's desk, if anybody needs to take a look at that or see it. All right, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let me give a few announcements. We have extra people in the audience tonight, and we like that and appreciate you being here. I want to remind all that this meeting is being recorded. It will be broadcast at a later date. You need to remember that whoever wants to speak this evening, you're going to need to come forward to the microphone that is when you're recognized, and then state your name for the record, and you'll need to spell your name for the clerk so that she gets her minutes written correctly. Remember, there's no swearing or any other inappropriate language. We all need to check our cell phones, and like I just got, I thought I had mine off, so it's not good. See if we can turn them off or take them to silent if possible, in an effort not to interrupt others. We want to remind the commissioners as well to speak directly into our microphones, and speak as loud and directly into your microphones as possible, so that people can hear us here, and so that people can hear us on the recorded version that will go out later. Depending on the length of the agenda here tonight and how long it takes, there's a good chance that at some point in time we will try and take an 8-minute break somewhere in the middle. But I think that's it for the announcements. The next item is approval of the agenda and consider any modifications.
Yeah, Mark, I see Commissioner Reisig is going to abstain on 2 claims.
Uh-huh.
185 and 249. There is another one, I don't know whether you just missed it. On
I didn't see it.
Scotts Bluff Grain for $27,000.
That'd be my nephew, wouldn't be me. That'd be Reuben.
It's the same number.
But it's a Moral Hardware though.
Should not be a Moral Hardware.
That's what it says on it.
For Scotts
That's the
Bluff
only reason
Grain?
I'm asking.
Well, is it a culvert? Was that culvert?
Under the Scotts Bluff Drain one?
Yes.
They
Yeah.
come to 27 total. Okay.
That's not you?
That is me. I thought you were talking about some
Okay,
labor on.
so we need to amend the agenda to include that one, right?
They're both on there. It
I think
says
it's
2,
on
doesn't
there.
it? I just seen it.
There's 2 claims.
There's 2
Did it?
claims.
Yeah.
There's 2
Yes.
claims on here.
Right, there are,
249
but this
and
one ends in 250. It doesn't match the one that's on the agenda.
Okay,
That's
I
what
don't know.
it
I never
says.
put it in there. I don't know. I haven't
There's
seen it.
one ends in 185, one ends in 249. This one ends in 250. I'm just,
Can you give us that number and we'll just
Yeah.
include it in this
Just include it there.
motion?
That'll work.
2608 000-250, and the amount is $27,008. some change.
So what are the other two then? I haven't even pulled them up.
We, well, we have them down as ending in 185 and 249. And we can talk about those when we discuss the claim itself,
all right.
if we need to.
Okay.
I was gonna ask if we could move the consent agenda to after both of our public hearings. I mean, I need approval of the agenda, but I have, if I could be considered with that modification, if we could move the consent agenda to after our two public hearings.
I think we can give the chair flexibility to do that without having to, change the agenda.
Okay.
So this is the consent.
I see the 189
This,
and the
you're
18
talking about the public hearing for the sale of the property?
And the
Yes.
public hearing for building and zoning,
Yes.
And the purpose of doing that again,
just to get those folks out of here if they want out of here,
okay? That would be kind of okay.
kinda.
I just thought though that some of these folks are here, I'm assuming for the Brown Canyon,
Quite
I know.
possibly.
and that's further down the list, right?
Considerably farther down in the
Yeah.
general agenda.
How many people are here for the Brown Canyon item? Okay. All right, but the simple story is, for the purpose of trying to move it forward quicker, Kelly? Well, I'm gonna suggest that we go ahead with the consent calendar. I don't think it'll take us that long.
Okay.
And then we'll go right into the public hearings, and that part shouldn't take too long either. So,
That's for the 27th.
all right, so we're up to the point to approve the agenda and consider modifications, right? And, the
I-
one thing that's being asked to be modified is to add a item to Mr. Ryzik's request of retracting claims. And, but before, and even before that on the agenda is just to remind everyone that we reserve the right to go into a closed session if deemed necessary. We don't have any on the scheduled for executive session tonight, but we always reserve the right to do that. So let's go to the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, these are intended to be approved by one action. For several items, but Ms.
I would
Kelly,
move approval of the consent agenda minus,
185.
claims listed, one's in 185, 249, and then the added one at 250
okay,
to be discussed later on.
There's a third one you said, Ken? I'm not seeing a third one on
If
here.
you look
I
under
think-
Scotts Bluff Drain, that's the one.
I can't find the Scotts Bluff Drain.
It's clear at the end, Russ.
I've got that.
Or on
we'll
the
include
backside.
those items for now, and then we can discuss them here in just a little bit,
Okay.
Second to the last page on this, Russ.
okay?
Right, Russ? Second to the last page on this one.
I move to approve the consent agenda with the flexibility of the chair.
All right. So we are, approving in this the, pulling the claims of, the one that ends in 185, 249, and 250.
I apologize, but I'm very lost. Have we approved the agenda?
We have not.
We have not. No, it was a change on the agenda.
We're gonna
It was
make a
addition
change on here.
The change
That's right.
is modifying to add that claim.
I'll withdraw my motion.
If
No,
we
I
need
just
to
wanna-
do that, that way, that would be fine,
Okay,
okay?
so Ken made a motion
the
to
motion. Was
modify
there a
the
second?
agenda, adding that claim. Am I correct?
We haven't voted on that yet.
And we didn't vote on that one. Is there a second on that portion? Which is this approve the agenda item,
Just the agenda.
right? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
So there's a motion and a second to modify the agenda,
To
What-
add that claim number.
to add the claim number.
Thank you.
Okay. Call the roll, or we'll vote electronically.
Okay, and we still have a motion.
You have
to-
5
to
yeses.
So,
appro-
so the
approve
motion's
consent.
to approve the agenda.
With
Um,
changes.
No, now we still need to vote on this next item,
Right,
which is, to pull the claims, those 3 claims. We need to,
that was my motion,
alright, so the motion
and
from
we have a
Ken
second.
is to pull these 3 claims at Mr. Reisig's request, the one ended in 185, 249, and 250. Was there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second to pull the claims, 3 claims. Any other discussion?
I think if you look at the last, the retracting claim 0249, I think if you look at that, I think it's a typo. I think what you meant to be, to abstain from is the 250, not the 259.
I'll abstain from all 3 of those when we get that
Okay.
far. We haven't got that
Okay.
far yet. I can still vote until
can-
we.
Yep,
We can still deal with that down here at the last item,
Correct.
okay? Alright, so the motion is to pull those 3 claims.
And also to approve the consent agenda.
Now, that's a separate line item.
Okay, well, all right, then,
This motion is to pull those 3 claims. That's the way you have it, right, Kelly?
Yes?
Alright, and did we get a second?
Mike?
Yes.
second.
second it.
Alright, let's go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Now we're going to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes, remittances, correspondence, claims, receive the Register of Deeds, doc stamp and fee report. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as modified?
That's what my motion was. That's why I was gonna pull.
To exclude, we're voting on the consent agenda.
Right. With the
Excluding
exception of
those
those 3.
3.
Those 3 claims,
Yes, sir.
right?
That's what my motion was.
That's what this is.
Yeah,
Okay, so
And I'll
Ken's
second.
saying he's making that motion.
and I'll second that.
Alright, there's a second. Alright, any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. Now, the next item is to discuss and consider the claims that we pulled, which is the one ending in 185, 249, and 250, the way I understand it.
And 1-8, yeah, all 3 of those, that's right.
Alright, and so tell us about those, Russ.
I think the, smaller ones, the 2-8, or the 185, I think that was just small stuff you guys picked up at the yard. And the 250 for the Scotts Bluff drain was a culvert they had ordered through Moral Hardware, so.
I assume at that cost, that's probably what it was.
That's what it was.
Would that be true? And do we agree that there's 3 of them?
There's 3 of them. There was some more small stuff evidently. You must have picked up a different.
No.
2 big culverts and then just small immaterial items from the states or whatever you guys.
Okay, so we have those 3 items and they were all for Moral.
Moral Hardware.
Are there any other questions or discussion on these 3 claims? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move to approve the three claims ending 185, 249, and 250.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll second it. All right, and so, Mr. Reisig, you intend to abstain on this
I
one?
do.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
The only question I was at, Robert, maybe it's not for you, but how would we miss a $27,000 claim to the hardware store?
That wasn't him, that was my office.
Okay, all right, I'm just asking,
And we simply missed it, is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
yeah.
Apparently.
It was still gonna get paid, but in another deal. I mean, it was,
Right.
we just, only thing we didn't get was that it needed to be abstained on. That's the only thing. By moving it in the correct position where you caught it, and thank you for doing that, by the way.
I'm still not even finding it myself on the pre-approval, so.
If
It's
you
on-
look
it's on
under,
the
look
second
under
to the
Scotts
last
Bluff
page.
Drain.
So at the very last item
That's
on the
easy to,
second to last
what
page.
page, they're page numbered, could you tell me what page it's on?
Page 13,
Off of this sheet right here, Kelly.
page 13.
Page 13.
Thank you.
There it is.
I'll just point it out because, the gal that enters the claims has been trying to catch it for me so that we're not trying to deal with it in this long lengthy discussion at a meeting.
Yeah.
But I think she's looking under road and bridge, period.
I was.
And so I'm sure that I need to let her know that there may be things under that Scotts
Well,
Bluff
maybe
drain as
Steve
well.
could even note it when it comes, because he's got a lot of different places that stuff goes to, so. Okay,
All right, so we have a motion and a second
Yes.
to approve those three claims.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 3 yeses, 1 no, the, nay is Matt Parsley.
Okay, motion's
And
carried.
Russ abstained.
Okay, we'll go on to the next item then, which is a public hearing. A public hearing for 4:30, purpose of the hearing is for receiving comments from the public concerning the sale of property, including structures. The legal description of the property is as follows, and Ms. Kelly, will this be voted on all in one motion? Or how will this be done, Robert?
Was that your intention?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Sale of real estate,
Are these,
one motion or separate?
they're
One
gonna be
motion.
separate, one motion
This
for
would
all?
be- Yeah, because we would sell them at one auction.
Okay. So do you wanna go ahead and tell us about this?
Sure, so, the county owns the referenced 4 properties and has owned them, for at least a few years. I've been in the county for 3 years and we owned them prior to my coming here. So there are 3 lots in, Lyman, and there's one piece of property, it's east of Mitchell, it's in the country. You have the parcel number and the, legal description there. But the bottom line on this, all 4 of these properties, are not required for county purposes. So the best thing to do, I believe, we talked about it at a prior meeting, and you gave me the conditional approval to move forward, so we're having this hearing, so people can speak for or against selling one or any of these properties. So, but our intention would be that if we move forward, that we would be required to have the sale within, 2 months, within 60 days. Is that right, Jason?
Within 2 months, yeah.
Yeah, within
And
2
that's
months.
Of
and that's a
today's date.
public auction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
2 months at the public hearing on this.
Okay.
So today.
Well, Robert has given us a brief description of what this is. This is a public hearing. I would ask, is there anyone here this evening that wants to speak on this item?
I have a silly question. May I?
Sure.
For no particular reason, has Steve Baird seen what that, not in Lyman parcel is at all?
I
mean,
don't
it's-
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
What's that?
Sell away.
Sell away?
Aren't these in line and all?
Three
All right.
of the lots.
Let the
are in
record
alignment.
show there was no public comment. Any other discussion from the commissioners? All right. Well, so you need a motion towards this, or did you just need the public hearing?
I think we need a motion too, don't we? Yeah, we need a motion too.
And the motion would state what, Jason?
That the county has determined that that those 4 lots are not required for any public purpose, that if the county board so chooses, that you're authorizing the sale of those 4 lots, and that the sale would need to take place pursuant to statute within 2 months of today's date.
I move to entertain that motion.
I'll second that.
Before we do, where does it say that we're taking any action on this?
Doesn't have it on the agenda.
No. It was for information, I think maybe information only. Didn't you say that there's a period, Jason, that needs to be brought up at the meetings for the public?
Yeah, so the Kelly had published in the paper, I believe, twice for 2 consecutive weeks that this was a public hearing where the board would entertain authorizing the sale of this property, that the public would have an opportunity to speak for or against, and then following the public hearing,
Then
the board would entertain.
The board would make a motion to either sell or not sell,
Yes.
correct? Okay. But that's not what this agenda item says. I'm just,
Something was left out.
Are you okay with us voting on this then, Jason? To move forward with the sale as you described it?
We're really not approving anything except moving forward. We're not taking any action on a sale.
it just says the purpose of the hearing
Right.
is to receive comments. It's
Didn't
not
have
to
any
take it-
comment.
There's no action required
That's right.
according to this agenda item.
Oh, I see it, okay. It's actually- Well, I think you've got 2 options. One is, you've published in the paper what the purpose of the public hearing is. The second would be, that this gets republished again, essentially reset for public hearing, and this agenda item, be listed with more specificity that the purpose of the hearing is for receiving comments from the public concerning the sale of the property, and additional, to consider, for the board to be able to consider and vote on sale of these parcels.
After the public hearing.
After the public
Yeah,
hearing.
right.
We just had the public hearing as far as I'm concerned. We just had it.
My motion.
Right.
The
But you don't have an agenda item to
issue,
vote
I
on.
guess,
understand
would,
that.
Yeah, that's.
But we wouldn't have to have the public hearing again.
no,
well, the
I
only
think so.
issue I think would be is that the statute specifies that sale has to be within 2 months of the public hearing. So whether or not, that lines up, whether it be on there, again, within a modified agenda item. I guess the only issue would be having to publish again.
Yeah. Well, you're the guy that needs to tell us how you think we need to do it.
I agree.
Well, I think the safest thing would be to have it again, with it being clear that,
To have the hearing again, or just to post what our procedure's gonna be?
to do both.
The 2 months won't start until the next meeting, basically.
Right.
But we've had the public hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the difficulty is that I think it's 23-10701.
When you start the meter? Okay,
Just has them all together,
let's just do it again then.
so that's an option.
Okay.
Should
Well,
we just table it?
Now, because
No.
it would have to be published.
How long can you keep the public hearing open? Cause you haven't closed it.
Well, my concern would be, trying to tie it into that sale date and then just running into yet another problem, as opposed to just publishing it again and having it again. I think that would be the safest thing, but.
So what you're saying is another public hearing with the addition of a motion and second and vote to go ahead with the sale.
To have that all as part of a specified
Part of one.
agenda item.
Since we've had the public hearing, what about just having on the next agenda, the board to consider, discussing, consider, approval?
Yeah, that's my next question. We've already met the intent of the statute by having the public hearing today. So it's been done. We just,
So does the meter start today or does it not?
Well, the meter starts, from the time of the public hearing.
Yeah, the only thing, we don't have another regular meeting for basically 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Is the other thing to consider.
Right. But,
I think we should just table it, hold it right where it's at, and just table it. That would stop it. And then we can restart it again on the, in 3 weeks.
well,
you're talking about
This
table
item-
the public hearing?
Pardon me?
You're talking about tabling the public
The
hearing?
results of the public hearing. Just table the results of the public hearing. We don't have, well, we've done it, but we can table the results of it, can't we? We table everything else we
I'm
need to table.
asking Jason,
Well, I think the concern
do you
is
want us to
the
do?
timing of the sale date, so, I mean, I think my initial thought would be, you either move forward with taking up action on a vote to sell the property, or because of the timing with the next meeting, that we essentially publish it again and take it all up at once, both the public hearing and the vote on the sale.
The other thing we could do is let the 2 months run out. This thing, we've owned this property for 15 years. If we went 2 months and our meter run out, we can redo the public hearing and start the meter, have everything on here properly, and then do it in 2 or 3 months from now and start it over.
That's what I'm suggesting, is that if you decide that the agenda is not sufficient, that you would just publish it again and take it all up at once.
I think so too. Let the meter run out.
So I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay.
I'll withdraw the motion.
That's smart.
That helps.
Yeah, it would be good.
No withdraw the second.
All right, so I told you folks that this would be short and it wouldn't take very long. This is embarrassing, quite frankly. All right, so the motion has been withdrawn and the second, and so we don't have anything on the table right now. So, we've had the public hearing, and I did close the public hearing, where someone said.
And in
that
2
we-
months,
Yeah, I did close that.
in 2 months from now, it'll die, and then we have to do the public
Well,
hearing again. And then we'll start the
You
meter
go-
at that
and-
point.
It can't, we must set a date within 2 months, right?
Or it
Of the
dies.
public hearing, so the idea would be is whether we're just gonna essentially not take action on this and just publish it again.
But we keep saying, we'll let the 2 months
Yeah, I don't-
fizz
I don't-
out, but
I
that's
don't-
not what we're doing. We're
No.
not
No.
taking action today, cause I
Or
have to
simply-
republish and we have to rehold the public hearing.
I
We're
agree.
simply
Okay.
not taking action,
We're good.
simply that.
Yes.
So next meeting, we'll go through and redo the hearing.
All right. Any other comments on this item? So, hearing none,
So is
then
the
there's
pu-
no action.
The public hearing is officially closed, cause we haven't done
Yeah,
that
I
yet.
did that. I did.
Well, you didn't call a time for me? What
No,
time did you
I
close
did.
it?
But when I went to the discussion amongst commissioners, I said, we'll officially close the public hearing. So that's
Okay.
what I thought I did. Randy didn't think I did either. Anyway, so you can call it.
At 5 o'clock closed or what?
That's all right.
Thank you.
Is there, no other action? All right. So, there's no action on this item. Go to the next item. Building and Zoning, 4:30, public hearing, discuss and consider approval of a request by Mike and Lisa Pickenpaw for a zoning change, recreational residential to recreational commercial, and a preliminary plat called the Pickenpaw subdivision located in section 20, township 23 north, range 53 west. Go ahead, Bill, with your initial information.
So the applicant, they own a property that has a residence and a commercial storage unit for RVs and boats on it. That got zoned back in 2002. It was like a 1.62 acres for that, and they wanted to sell it, but they couldn't find anybody who would wanted the house and the commercial storage area. So they wanted to split it into two. So you'll have lot 1 and lot 2 of the Pickenpaw subdivision. The house will be on just a little over 3, and they want to add another 28 feet to the west on the existing commercial property to make it 1.85 acres. And so we had to do that zoning change just to include that 28 feet.
So would the whole property be recreational, commercial then?
No, it's already 1.62 acres of commercial, and if you see that, you see the page where I have the yellow and the red?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're just adding 28 feet more of the commercial. The rest of the
Is-
property's
is
all
re-
recreational residential.
residential,
Yeah,
gotcha.
exactly. That's what the house is on.
Okay.
So, and there is no facilities for the boat shed, it's just nothing but just a big metal shed. Like I said, the owner, he didn't want anything to do with the house, he just wants to actually have the commercial facility. So, the planning commission did recommend approval by a 6-0 vote on this, and it does meet all the minimum standards of the zoning and the subdivision regulations.
Okay,
So as a commercial, what's gonna be the total acreage of just the commercial area?
1.85.
Okay, so there's no sewage or
No,
septic or water?
So-
Not be able to put any sewer or water on it.
if we could, this is a public hearing. Bill's given us his initial information, let's open this for the public hearing. Is there anyone here this evening that wants to comment on this item? Mike?
Mike Pickenpaw, Michael Pickenpaw, Michael Pickinpoughh. Yes, I certainly am in favor of this. The real reason why people are struggling to buy the property with the commercial aspect is banks don't want to lend money on that. And it takes a rather large down payment to overcome that. And we haven't found anybody that can do that in this economy. Do have a buyer for the commercial property, that's why we're here. It does mirror the rest of the property out there as far as the Foster subdivision, Sleepy Hollow, those are all subdivisions. This is the only property within that scope that isn't subdivided, and it makes more sense that it is, and it'd be much the same. The community would be like properties. So it's listed right now as a 4503, 4503, where the other ones are listed as it's I can't think of the name of it, but they're listed as they're subdivided, rural subdivision. There we go. So I guess unless you have questions for me, that's all I have to say about it. I think Bill did an excellent job of explaining our situation.
Okay, we might have some questions later, but go ahead and have a seat. Is there anyone else here this evening that wants to comment on this item? All right, let the record show there were none. Let's officially close the public hearing, 5:04.
Thank you.
You bet.
I would move for approval
I'll
of the
second it.
request.
Zoning
Okay,
change.
so we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote.
You have 5 yeses.
All right, motion's carried. Thank you. Bill?
Well, there's one more here too.
Oh, yeah, the one for the
Signatures,
Signature.
chairman's signature.
For the signature
Now
part
that
of it?
you've approved the preliminary plat for the Pickapaw subdivision, we just need to get approval of your signature on that plat.
Okay,
I move to
Final plat.
approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. Thanks.
You have 5 yeses.
Okay, motion's carried. Okay, we'll go, to the next item, which is Board of Equalization. We'll need a motion to go into the Board of
I
Equalization.
move to go into Board of Equalization.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second. Hearing no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote on that.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. So the first item is discuss and consider approval of the distress warrant return list. Heather?
Right, so every year in November, on November 1st, we send up distress warrants to the sheriff's office. They did a great job, this year. We sent up 169 warrants, and they collected all but 5. The amount that we sent up was 114,000. We had one warrant that was 48,000 when we sent it up there, and they were unable to collect that warrant. So, I may be back at some point in time asking you to strike that, but other than that, they did do a really good job collecting that. So, just have to submit the report, and if you guys have any other questions about it. And there were
Question
two,
on the location, you said you weren't able to locate some of the property on there?
that's what the sheriff's department put. So, like this back here, this is what I got from them.
The
So,
sheriff's here
Yeah.
if you wanna let him speak on it.
There are, actually, my letter's wrong, there were 2 businesses that were closed. The first one has taxes for 23, 24, and will have taxes for 2025, so that might be something we need to take a look at. But, yeah, the rest of them were mobile homes. And most of those taxes have been corrected and they're gone for going forward.
Sheriff, did you have some comments?
Gentlemen, we have, about $56,940 that's uncollected. That is almost entirely from 2 businesses that are closed, not here anymore, and we can't find people to collect from. You don't know their names?
I know their names.
What?
I know their names.
Yeah, and they have copies of all of it.
They've
They're on
got copies?
Facebook all the time. I see them on their wall.
Okay. So you can,
I move to approve the distress warrant return list.
I'll second.
But I will say, for having sent up 169 warrants, even though the amounts were a lot less this year, to only get 5 back, I think that's the smallest number of warrants that I've ever gotten back.
Small ratio.
Yeah,
Too bad.
So they've done a good job
they have
collecting.
done a really good job.
Alright,
Thank you guys for doing
Appreciate
that.
alright. So did I hear a motion then?
Motion and a second.
Motion to approve.
Alright. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Alright, motion's carried. Alright, we need a motion to go out of the Board of Equalization.
I move to go out of Board of Equalization.
Is there a
I'll second it.
Alright, I have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote.
Give me just a second.
Now we can vote?
No.
Oh,
now. You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. All right, we'll go to the next item, which is Road and Bridge. Discuss and consider lease purchase agreement with D.A. Davidson and resolution executing lease purchase. Steve?
Okay, a little background here as far as why we want to make this purchase is we've gotten into, out of our 240 bridges we have, we've gotten into taking a lot of the bridges out and being able to install culverts. As long as the hydraulics, the engineering study and the hydraulics support it, we've been able to put in culverts. So for doing this, we need a bigger excavator because our current one just is not built and meant to be handling these culverts, lifting them up, setting down in the trenches. Last meeting, I don't know if any of you made it out by Adler Drive to look at that culvert sitting there that we're gonna be putting in. That's probably one of the smaller ones. We're starting to do quite a few 12-footers similar to that. So that is really the basis of the purchase, is to help, so we don't have to lease the machines. When you lease them, it's $8,000 a month. If you go to Deere or Cat to lease a machine for a month that's big enough to do this, or hiring contractors.
What kind of machine is it?
So the one we're looking at purchasing is a Cat 320 excavator. It's 170 horse, a 22-foot reach dig. It's a heavier built, more of a mining type, heavier built machine for this purpose. Our current one little 160 excavator we have just doesn't have enough lead in its tail to do this kind of work. So
Did we bid this out, or is this?
so we're purchasing this off Sourcewell, the Sourcewell contract statute 233109 allows us to purchase items when the bidding process has already been done for you. So like Sourcewell is a government entity that does all the letting and bidding of all sorts of different things. I don't know that there's anything you couldn't buy off Sourcewell. Same with Nebraska Administrative Services. They do the same thing for state bid, and you're able to just go in and get a hold of the vendor and you buy it off state bid or Sourcewell contracts. So this one here, we're just gonna buy off the Sourcewell contract. And that's the reason for the agreement here and the resolution with D.A. Davidson. Obviously with budget issues, can't just shell out $300,000 for an excavator. It's a little easier just to make a payment a year and squeeze that in the budget. So that's why we brought forward the lease agreement to do that. This is similar to what we did in 2021 with that motor grader. I think most of you were on the board then when we did that. With D.A. Davidson, the same group. It's through NACO. They write these all the time for counties. So I can, since we have a pretty big crowd here, I go ahead and read the resolution so everybody can read what it says if you want me to, or we don't have to, whichever you want to do.
Go right ahead.
So this is a resolution approving, adopting, ratifying, and affirming the execution and performance of a lease purchase agreement with NACO Leasing Corporation for acquisition of property. Be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Scotts Bluff, Nebraska, the county, that this board hereby approves and authorizes the acquisition of Caterpillar excavator by the county through a lease purchase agreement with NACO Leasing Corporation. The lease purchase agreement shall include the following terms with such changes as are deemed reasonable or necessary by the Chair of the Board of Commissioners. Number one, principal amount $265,306.13. Number two, the interest rate is 4.1%. 3, payment amount approximately $60,272.45. The term is from August 26, 2026 through November 15th, 2031. Payment frequency is annually on November 15th, beginning November 15th, 2027. Settlement and closing of the lease purchase agreement shall be on or about August 27th, 2026. NACO Leasing Corporation shall send payment to the equipment vendor or owner for acquisition of the property on the date on which NACO Leasing Corporation receives the signed lease purchase agreement and accompanying documents from the county. Be it further resolved that the chair or vice chair of the Board of Commissioners and the county clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign the lease purchase agreement and related certificates and documents. And be it further resolved that the tax exempt financing compliance procedure presented to the board is hereby adopted and approved. This resolution shall be in force and effect from and after its passage, and all resolutions or orders or parts thereof in conflict with the provisions of this resolution, or to the extent of such conflict hereby are repealed. This resolution may be executed by electronic transmission and shall be regarded as original, and that it just has passed today's date and the chairperson's signature. So, There's that first, I guess, would need to be passed, and then there's in this agreement, lease agreement, there's probably 12 signatures. It requires the chairman's, signature, like signing for his house, but, that's
So
the basis of it.
60,000 a year. for 5
60,000 a
years.
year for 5 years.
5 years.
We can pay it off early. The local financing company that they went through is Platte Valley, so our own bank right here in town will be, doing the financing. Last time we did this, it was First State Bank here that had the lease purchase.
So there's no prepayment penalty.
No, and the last one I actually paid off early. If it works out, I paid it off a year early because we had enough money in our budget to go ahead and make one final payment, so.
And you're talking about the road grader that we had.
No,
Right,
Back then, yes, we bought the
Oh.
road grader and the excavator back in 2021.
at the same time.
Yes,
that's right.
And
Yeah.
that's when we borrowed.
yeah, and that's when we bought this. And, of course, back then, interest rate was only like
When-
1.5%,
So
but.
we're about 40,000 in interest over the
So,
5-year period, correct? Your principal amount is
probably,
265, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
When you told us about this last meeting, right? Right.
yes.
Okay. Did we talk at that time about it needing to be financed?
I thought maybe I threw it out that we were gonna do a lease purchase.
I guess I've known it. I thought he did mention it there. Did you not?
For it and to
No,
go out
I'm-
and,
I'm not sure
to
that
look
I
at it, but.
remember it that way, but could've
And
been.
this route, really just took this route just because of the budget issues. I could maneuver my budget, move line items around enough to do 60,000 a year, but to do a 300,000 lump sum, no, so. And my budget for this next year here that we just did,
You've got that payment.
I've got that
included.
all taken care of, and my budget falls in line with what Mr. Simpson's been requesting.
Yeah, he's within the requested
So-
amount by the board, no more than the 1.3% increase over last year.
So
We
it'll
did
be,
clear
this
that
machine will be used for other stuff besides.
Yeah, oh yeah, it can be used for anything.
Whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
whatever we need it for. So, ideally, it's gonna help hopefully save hiring contractors to do work, leasing bigger machines to do this, so. Our other one, when we do it, it gets a little, when you go to lift up a culvert, it gets a little tipsy and
This,
it's not the
this,
best, so.
this price includes a 6-foot ditch cleaning bucket and a thumb. And the thumb they use for pulling those bridge decks off. You remember him explaining the bridge decks removal and all that last meeting?
So, yeah.
So, is that particularly needed to reach out and dig further, or is it to be able to lift that and set it in place?
Both. It's gonna do both for us. It's gonna be able to have better reach to reach out and clean out the trenches or ditches for us, the drains. Plus the bucket comes right off, and we can use just the hoe part of it to fasten with our lifting straps to the culverts to reach out to set them down in there. So, and a lot of times we have to sit sideways, and like the one we have now, when it doesn't have enough weight, counterweight in it, to when you reach out, you can't go very far, or you kind of get leaning away. So, this one here has enough lead in its tail to help us get that stuff done, so.
We do have a gentleman from the audience that wants to comment. Come on up.
The only thing I got to say,
Name.
oh, Steve Pitts, STEVPITTS,
Thank you.
is under lease purchase. All major repairs will be done through the lease, right? They won't be,
That's all taken care of.
that's all taken care of. Okay.
We understand.
Today's market, repairs can cost you a lot of money.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, this will have a 6-year, warranty on it, so.
So,
So actually be warranted after the time we even have to pay it off.
It goes past, the warranty goes
Yes.
past. I mean, it's like that 40,000 is buying a long warranty, that interest is.
so are you making any payment in this fiscal year?
Yes, I will make one in this fiscal year. I'll make it probably in June for the fiscal year, cause I already have it in my budget. So
Then
I just soon get.
approximately every June or
Yep.
so, you would be
Yep,
making
yep, it'll be
60
made
and
early.
hopefully more
Yeah,
than that.
yeah, so I
Because
wanna get it
won't be
going.
due probably until August, right?
Right, and I just soon get
And
it
that's
going
the
so we
next
can.
fiscal year.
Right,
But you're gonna pay at least one payment in
I'll
this
pay it like in
fiscal year.
June of 2027. It's due in August of 27,
And that's
so,
what, you
yeah.
have at least one payment budgeted in this year.
yes, I do.
And that
This
machine
fiscal
comes from
year.
local?
Yes, it comes from the local NMC. It's sitting right out front right now, so.
Okay,
So-
And he did discuss with Robert, and they talked about this. It does work in his budget.
I hope that you can pay it off early. I'm not sure that, I fully understood that we were gonna be looking at a, 5-year payment on this. And, but I do know that it actually, at the rates that we can borrow at, it comes out pretty good, and then the fact that the repairs are taken care of helps offset that interest rate, and so, I can understand that somewhat, so it basically gives you a, did you say a 6-year warranty, basically?
Yes, 6-year warranty.
On repairs.
Yeah, it's what they call their extended 6-year, 3,000 hour premier warranty. So it'll be warranted, a year after it's even paid off. Hopefully more, I'm
That
hoping.
lease purchase, and we've done it before.
Yes, yep,
Actually works out very well. You don't have such a budget impact on the high dollar
right, I agree,
equipment.
yep. It's a little easier to swallow
Yeah,
in
you gotta
a
pay some
budget.
interest, but you gotta pay interest anyways. You gotta borrow the money to buy it.
Right,
So it's,
right. And unfortunately, this is the time it is, our interest rate this go-around's a little higher than in 2020 when we did it, but,
Yeah.
it's still pretty decent. I don't know that anybody gets any lower interest rates than what they do through this NACO thing, so.
So our relationship certainly with DA Davidson has worked out fine in the
Yes,
past,
yep,
so.
I would move for approval.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a second to, approve the lease purchase agreement, and the resolution to, executing the lease purchase. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried.
We all need to sign this or something?
just marking it about 20 different spots, so I'll just leave it.
Oh,
All
20
right,
different
I'll do
spots.
it when I have to. All right, so on the back of our agenda anyway, we go to general agenda items. First one is to receive inventories from the Register of Deeds, County Real Estate, the Extension Office, Clerk of the District Court, Building and Zoning, Management Accountant, and HR. So, I know we have some of those listed here and some are, some of them in hard copies, but the others we have digital, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought that I saw. Alright. So is there any questions or comments about the inventories from these, entities?
I move to approve the inventories from the departments, listed.
Okay,
I'll second that.
alright. So I have a motion and a second to receive and approve the inventories from these entities. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Alright, motion's carried. Alright, so finally, for you, a lot of folks here, so the next item is to receive, discuss, and consider presentation from Mitchell Irrigation District Board regarding the Brown Canyon project. Who wants to, come on up.
Hello and good afternoon. I'm Dave Reichert. That's D-A-V-E R-E-I-C-H-E-R-T.
Thank you.
And I'm representing Mitchell Irrigation District. I also have members of additional members from Mitchell Irrigation District, Gearing Irrigation District, Gearing Fort Laramie Irrigation District, and the NRD.
Okay.
And I have just a one-page handout that I'd like to hand out.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, the purpose for this, for my being here today is to ask for financial support for the replacement of the Brown Canyon drain structure. And just a little bit of history on this is in 2015, this structure failed, and we repaired it, and it's starting to show some more degradation and age. So, just some details on this is, project, is already planned to replace the existing steel culvert that we'd repaired that crosses underneath the Mitchell Irrigation District with a concrete box culvert. And the engineering group that we've contacted and are working with is JEO Consulting Group. They're out of Lincoln, Nebraska. The construction firm or the contractor is Midwest Infrastructure, and they're also out of Lincoln, Nebraska. And then the funding opportunity that we have here is we've applied for the SWIFT program money, and we've gotten a grant for $1,006,000. But with this grant, the recipients have to come up with 10% of that amount. And that's why I have everybody here with me today. So, just a few more details here is demolition and construction are supposed to start in October of this year, and then completion should be on or before irrigation season, which is May 1st of 2027. So I just wanted to go through the stakeholders here and their impacts, and we'll start with Mitchell Irrigation District. It's a joint canal. Mitchell delivers irrigation water to Gearing Irrigation District as well as their patrons. Gearing Irrigation District is their patrons. Gearing Fort Laramie Irrigation District, the impact they have here is there's irrigation and stormwater drainage that runs through this structure. The Natural Resources District is involved because they have a flood mitigation plan and a mission. And then Scotts Bluff County, and the reason I've listed that is because of your exposure from the county roads that are in that area. County roads H, J, and then they're between 13 and 12. And so, in asking for a contribution, or here is asking whatever the board feels appropriate. So I know budgets are strained. The last time when we had repairs made, the county, the other way that the county contributed to this was a payment in kind. And so that would, in this contract that we have with Midwest Infrastructure, that's acceptable as well. So it's whatever the board considers is appropriate and whatever your budget will allow. Just want to finish with the benefits, or the reasons this is important is because it's a structure that improves flood control for a large area, and it ensures the deliveries of irrigation water for 26,000 acres in the Gearing and Mitchell districts. And so when it failed, it was out 26 days, and by the grace of God, we had rain that compensated for the lack of water delivery. And so that's all I have for today.
Mr. Riker, quick question. Do you recall, I was here, but I don't recall, I know we did the in-kind. Was there any monetary thing from the county?
That
I
time,
honestly don't remember.
at that time, no, there wasn't.
It was just all in-kind.
It was all in kind.
Do you remember the amount of in-kind? and what-
Basically, it was gravel, they gravelled,
Was that what it was?
I did the work on that project, and they gravelled
Okay.
roads for us. I think, were you here then, Steve, when we did that on 15?
Yeah, I just started, I believe they also gravel to enough gravel roads and
That was about all it really amounted to, there wasn't really a lot of money, involved.
And was that sufficient to help you get through the project or in-kind work?
Yes. Also in the contract, there is provisions made that if, for vehicles, construction equipment, for demolition, removal of material, or possibly reseeding after the project is all completed, there's those provisions that are allowable in the
So
contract.
that would be the scope of our in-kind then, basically.
True.
Okay. And you're anticipating that would be sufficient for this also?
Yes.
Okay.
How many, different entities are contributing to this? Just the ones you have listed here on that, you got Gearing, Mitchell, Gearing, that's who you're basically looking to get contributions from, these 5 different agencies.
Okay, we're in discussions with all of those groups.
Yeah, that's what
and
I was wondering
haven't-
how you're coming
We
out
haven't
here.
nailed anything down, except for the Natural Resources District has agreed to give us $15,000. But we're in negotiations with all of the others.
But you're needing around 100,000. 110,000?
$100,600.
How much? 100 what?
100,600. It's an awkward number.
Yeah.
Steve, have you been contacted on this and looked at it? Okay.
You may have said, that what's the overall cost that you estimate for this?
The cost estimate that we got from Midwestern
Yeah.
Infrastructure is $1,006,000.
So the SWIFT grant,
Well, the SWIFT grant is for the $1,006,000.
But you
And
have to
that's-
come up with 10%.
but, okay, so
That's
it's the
what we
10%
asked for in the
of
grant.
that we're,
And that's what we received.
Do we have any kind of a drainage district in that area at all that's established with the NRD? Nothing at all? Should there be? That's what I'm wondering about, because I know Gearing Drain has that, and I'm just wondering if we shouldn't be looking at doing some kind of a drainage district, so when we do have a real serious problem over that, everybody contributes and not just everybody pushes it to the smallest guy and it ends up in Mitchell's plate all the time. Every time I've been around, Mitchell ends up paying the bill, and they're the smallest guy on the food chain, you know?
Well, Scott Shaneman with the NRD posed that same question, to have a group.
Well, I think we need to look at, we got the thing in Gearing, we have a Gearing drain, and I think we need to look at maybe having a Mitchell drain here of some sort to where, we can, when we have a big flood over there, cause, it drains our roads, it definitely does. It drains the bar pits, it drains farms, it drains, a lot. And, you guys, Mitchell Ditch takes a lot of that water, it runs right into your ditch and goes down and breaks out, it causes you guys a lot of problems. I've seen it run over the roads down east of you there, you get down to South Mitchell Road and it runs plumb down the road and towards the river.
Yeah,
Because it can't get under that bridge, and so I know you have a real drainage problem there, and we need to figure out a way to, maybe look at working with that a little bit, and maybe Steve needs to be involved. I'd appreciate if you guys could bring Steve in and get him involved in a little of that.
Okay.
Would that be an additional cost to the landowners then, on top of their?
Well, I don't know, does Gearing Drain have we don't tax that, do we? I mean, it don't have a mill or anything like that, does it? How's that funded? Scott, could you come up here, Scott? Would you mind?
Kelly Scott Shaneman, SCOTTSCHANEMAN. The Gearing Valley Flood Control Project is comprised of 5 members. each contribute a percentage. Scotts Bluff County is part of that group, the North Platte NRD, Gearing, Irrigation, Central Irrigation, and Gearing Fort Laramie. And that's all divided out amongst a certain percentage, each partner contributes. And I believe the Scotts Bluff County and the North Platte NRD are both contributing the same amount, which is about 26% of their annual operating budget. But going back to some of your original points, Russ, there absolutely needs to be something done with drainage. I was here a month ago, or a little over a month ago, talking about this. We do have an absolute need for an aging infrastructure that's out there right now. The SWIFT funds, which these folks have applied for and have received, it would be a terrible shame to see that we'd lose 90% cost share over a 10% match. My board took action in the July board meeting unanimously to donate $15,000 to this project. I think it's very, very worthy, and certainly will help protect the property that's involved. But to answer your question though, Russ, that's how that Gearing Valley Flood Control is established and how the operating procedures work. There should be something, and I think even a grander scale. We've been looking at it on the NRD level of maybe a district-wide drainage district. The Gearing Valley Flood Control does have the ability to levy tax for that if needed. But who wants to be levying taxes?
Well, I don't want it right now. But I tell you, what I'm looking at, how many entities are already in the Gearing Valley plan? You guys are talking.
There's 5.
There's 5 now. So is Mitchell involved in that?
They are not.
So what would it take to put Mitchell in that, and you guys would just make that scope bigger?
I think that'd be a pretty big undertaking.
Would it be?
I do. I mean, we're talking about 2 drainage basins. You know, they're 2 totally different.
But that water winds up going down Mitchell Ditch, goes through the monument, and when it floods, it's still going down that ditch and into Gearing Valley. So that water does come to Gearing Valley.
I wish I could say with any degree of certainty what it would take, but I think it would be a bit of an undertaking.
I just wish that we could figure out a way so we didn't have so many entities that if we're gonna have a county-wide flood plan, then it was a flood plan and not have one here, and there, you know, and all of them have little pockets of money that aren't being used. If we had a way to control that and utilize it, you know.
It does make sense.
You know, I believe it was 5 years ago, maybe, Bob Bush loaded me up and we went and toured the Brown Canyon area, and he explained to me several of the issues going on there and the concerns that he had for a long, long time. And I don't think they've, again, been fully addressed for years, and then had even further issues. But with the thought of doing something in kind, and I'm glad Robert walked back in the room, because I don't know exactly where it would come out of. One of the places might be capital improvement line item, it might be somewhere else, but I would suggest you have 5 people on this list. The NRD put in 15, but I thought since there's 5 people on the list, we should maybe be willing to do up to 20,000 in kind, and that we would end up having to reimburse Steve's department for doing that. But I'm willing to go up to the $20,000 limit, and I mean that I think is a fair proportion to things, and I think we would be willing to do that.
I think we need
to
to
help.
look at the specs on this and see what monies were appropriated for the in-kind, or what values were put on the in-kind. So let Steve decide on that, I think.
Right, no, I'm not suggesting anything about what we do and how we do it. I'm just saying that Steve and probably the contractor would have to work that out. But you're saying the contractor's okay with that idea. And as long as the contractor's willing to work with that idea of in-kind, then to that extent, I would hope that we could do that. And I know that puts some extra effort on Steve, but you got a brand new machine you might be able to use out there. And, so,
Mr. Harris, I would like to add that, you know, if it's in kind or whether it's a dollar contribution, you know, we could take that out of general funds or maybe even we could consider a community betterment and use some Keno funds for that. But we
Possibility.
can't use capital funds.
that's all right, whatever,
Yeah.
wherever you feel it's appropriate to get those funds from, and yeah, Keno might be an appropriate place to do it.
Is your opinion better to pay cash or to do in-kind from? What's your thought on it?
I don't have an opinion.
I mean, you kinda know where we're set in the budget. I mean, is there money to give them cash?
With, you know, roads being busy, I mean, if it was me, I'd say give them the cash.
What do you say, Steve?
This would come out of the flood part of the budget.
I was gonna say,
so
Scott, Mike.
there would have to be an adjustment made in the flood budget to, pay for it, I guess, if that's what we
Well-
wanna do, was a monetary donation, so. I mean, I have some in the flood budget that could bear a little bit of that, but not all 20,000, so.
Well,
So we could look at.
I don't have a problem
funding
with,
more.
saying cash or in kind, whatever. Right, some of each.
If you guys even wanna split it up, but let's
Could
do
be
some
some of
cash
each.
and some, so they have,
The
cause it
only-
takes money to make things fly, you know?
The only question I have, and maybe Dave will be able to answer this, is that will in-kind satisfy the requirement of the grant?
Well, he
said
said the
it would.
contractor's
It-
willing to work on that,
But,
I mean,
but,
to
but the
be
grant
that.
has gotta have so many dollars of matching, and that might be the snag. It's gotta have actual cash.
Yeah, under the terms of the contract, they specified cash or payment in kind.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
And
so
so
we're
That's what you
covered,
said earlier.
yeah.
It seems,
good.
Right.
Chairman Harris, I would, just doing you look at the 5 entities that are listed there, if each were to pay an equal amount, it leaves you at that 20,100, I think, or something, but it seems to me that 20,000 on our part, this is something that benefits everybody in
a
this
lot of-
county.
a lot of
So
people.
it really makes sense, but
But I think we need to, start working on some sort of a little flood control project out there with your, I think, Scott needs to head that up and see if we can't put some kind of a flood control project, cause that's been a problem out there for many years.
So I agree to that, so I think, let's see. You didn't make that in the form of a motion, did you? No, not yet.
I don't know if we're ready for that yet,
Yeah,
but
no.
I think
So-
there's support for it.
Yeah, so I would hope that we could say that, between cash and payment in kind, that we would give, or be willing to spend $20,000. And as far as what we do, whether it's in kind or cash, can be decided between, primarily Steve's gonna be the guy. If his department is just totally booked up with other stuff, we may not be able to provide as much in kind, and we may have to do more cash. But between Steve and Robert, I believe we can iron that out. Is everybody okay with giving them the authority to do that?
Yes.
I would move.
Yeah.
I would move that we, contribute 20,000 in either cash or in kind, or both, towards the project, and to work with Steve and the contractor as to what needs to be done and what will be satisfied.
And let's put
Do-
not
do-
to exceed if we could as well.
What's that?
If you can add not to exceed on, I think that'd be,
I said 20,000.
Said 20.
I know you did, but.
Yeah.
And I'd second that.
That's my motion.
I second it.
So the motion's to give up to 20,000 in either in kind or cash, or combination of those two, for a total of 20. And, Steve's gonna have to determine how much he can do of the in kind, but between Robert and Steve, that they work together and ultimately give up to 20,000. Okay?
I'd like a report on that when we're done with it. of how much was in kind, how much was cash?
Sure, when we're
Okay.
all done, so.
Thank you.
So that was the motion, right?
Yes.
Did we have a second?
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second to that effect. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried.
Okay,
Okay?
we all thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Good luck.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna take our 8-minute break.
Oh.
Sorry. So,
Oh.
we'll be back at 5:54.
It is 5:54.
It's
I have
5:45.
5:46
Oh,
plus 8 will be
I got
5:54.
I wrote 5:54. It's weird. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna transpose 40.
We did it before. This isn't our first. They're land management and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay, the thing that I need cleared up with all of this is that, okay, we give out 12,000. After 12,000, we fix it.
So whenever you're ready.
Well,
You ready?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, because we were always told that we belong out.
All right, it is 5:54. We'll try and get started again.
Okay, that's it.
We'll try and get started again. So the next item is to discuss and consider a date, location, and time for the joint public hearing on property tax request, otherwise known as the pink postcard meeting, right?
Correct.
All right.
And statutorily, I'm required to have this information to Robert by September 4th, so
Okay.
here we go. I have contacted, I'm sorry, am I
No, go
okay?
ahead, you're up.
I have contacted WNCC, Civic Center, Gearing Schools, and Scotts Bluff Schools, and for the date and time frame we need it, none of them are available. So I would like to know if you would consider holding it here, just so we can be done. I have gathered information from our previous ones, and in 2022, I believe we had 150 attendees, and this room with every single chair, I don't like the setup of it for a giant public hearing, but this room will house 140 individuals, is what I was told by maintenance.
Okay. And tell us again, you said the college,
The
theater?
College Theater, the Civic Center, Gearing School, and Scotts Bluff School, they are working on their auditoriums at this time, and the time crunch, they can't commit that they would be done by September 23rd. Cause I was thinking September 23rd, cause that gives us the most time on time within the law, and have it at 6:05 here, so that we can move forward and start planning it and letting everybody know where it's gonna be if they have to participate.
And when do you need to give that to Robert?
By September 4th,
We won't have another meeting before that.
correct.
So you're saying do it here.
I'm saying I don't know what other choice I have.
Well, how about the Civic Center? You said, is there a charge to that on that one?
The Civic Center is not available.
Well, you said not.
Okay.
The
It doesn't
college
look
is
like
not
we have much of a
available.
choice.
Yeah, the one that runs in my mind would be Hampton Inn. And I don't think you mentioned them, but you know, they have that pretty good
I was
size
trying to use a free place,
Free.
room. Oh,
no cost
yeah.
place.
Okay, no,
All right, I
To
would,
be-
I would move that we use the commissioner room,
I'll second that.
and, well, I was gonna put a date in there too, as soon as Kelly gives it to me.
September 23rd.
Okay,
The meeting would begin at 6:05, cause we have to do it after 6.
so it'll be, that would be my motion to use our room here on September 23rd. at 6:05.
And I will repeat, it is not ideal in any way.
Well,
But,
but we're running
thank
out
you.
of options, so.
We are. Thank you.
Okay.
And I seconded it.
Yes.
Right. So we have a motion and a second to have the joint public hearing here in this room, September 23rd at 6:05. Any other discussion on that item? The only issue that would come up is, if we had a substantial number of entities that were gonna have to be part of then our crowd could grow. Hopefully there'll be less. And
We better have an overflow
And then
plan,
there'll
don't you
be-
think?
well, I guess we have an overflow out that way
Right.
but it's not gonna be easy. Right. Heather?
Just another thought, have you thought about the Midwest at all?
Like I said, I was looking for
Looking for
places that
what?
wouldn't charge, is all.
Yeah, or the fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds would be really good.
Yeah.
In the state of Nebraska, I don't know.
We need to make a decision tonight.
I'd really
That's
like
one
to
of
see
the
it.
issues.
I'd say just go with Ken's motion.
Well, Ken's motion is on the table right now, and that's what we're getting ready to vote on, one way or the other.
I think everybody ought to have plenty of room and not have to fight to hear what's going on, and we're here to represent these people. I think we ought to have a place big enough to put it on.
The issue of paying, ultimately ends up being the cost of those people, or those entities that required the public hearing, right?
That's right.
Those are still tax dollars, but
Right,
yes, you
I
are correct.
understand. But it would be, the expenses for that meeting end up getting charged to those entities, the way I understand it. We put it on, but they reimburse us, is what I understand. All right, any other discussion? The motion and the second is that we hold the meeting here, September 23rd at 6:05. Hearing no other discussion, we'll vote.
You have 4 yeses and 1 no, the no being Raisig.
Okay, the motion's carried, so we'll plan on it here. Robert, that'll give you the information you need. All right?
It's hearsay right now.
You're saying?
Well, I haven't informed you.
Okay, so we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is discuss and consider action regarding predatory animal USDA proposed agreement. And, so this item, was tabled, and this specific item is bringing it back up, the way I understand it, right, Jason?
Yeah, the board, previously considered, that, we would enter into, or we would, develop a draft of a cooperative services agreement and work financial plan for the board to review. Wildlife Services, has now done that, and, that's part of the packet. At the last hearing, the board had some questions, I think, that were kind of divided into a couple of different areas. One is that when, approval was given to, consider a cooperative services agreement and work financial plan with Wildlife Services, the board at that time had, put a lid on it of $12,000. And, the board, I think, wanted to consider how any potential agreement would work in conjunction with, the Nebraska predatory animal statutes as they pertain to counties, that, 23-355 5801 that indicates that counties can match resident funds up to $1,000 annually for specific animal control programs. And if there's anything above that, that would require separate board approval. So I think part of the question for the USDA was a concern about that the proposal that's before the board now is slightly above the $12,000 lid. And then the other issue or other concern from the board that I think Mr. Powers is gonna address was how this financial plan total would work within that statute that the county could potentially be on the hook for $1,000 annually per specific animal control program. Meaning that if the board approves $12,000 and the USDA under this service agreement goes to the first person in the county that makes a claim, and that claim was $5,000, is the county then contributing $5,000 to that first person instead of the $1,000 under statute? And I think the concern that the board had was could a couple residents of the county use up the $12,000 and then the next person in line would maybe be limited to the $1,000? Or is it that the USDA is looking at this 12,000 and change and saying this would, be the plan for say a year? And I think those were some of the questions the board had, and I think I had relayed those to the USDA, and I think the idea was that he would come and address these things as any questions the board had this evening.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Ryan Powers with USDA Wildlife Services. I'm gonna say one thing, I guess, first. I'm gonna be respectful and I'm gonna be professional, but I'm rather disappointed how things regressed at your last meeting. Your August 3rd meeting took a drastic turn backwards from what the July 20th meeting was. The July 20th meeting, there was a livestock producer here that was in desperate need of service because there were coyotes killing livestock. There was a sense of urgency amongst this board to go help that individual immediately. And you wanted me to go help him without an agreement in place. I was hesitant to do that, but I did it anyhow because I couldn't stand the fact that that guy was losing lambs to coyotes and it was taking money out of his pocket. I helped the guy. I thought that's what I was here for. I was invited to the July 20th meeting, the June 20th, July 20th meeting because of a specific problem that we're here to help with. On the August 3rd meeting, your discussion became so convoluted and there was so much misinformation floating around that it became apparent to me that I needed to come back and talk to you guys about our agency because the August 3rd meeting wasn't even, a minor representation of what we talked about on the July 20th meeting. So I'm going to touch on a few things that I touched on the last meeting. We've got new people in the room, and I want to touch on some things. I want to clear up some misinformation that's floating around here. We're a federal agency, and our sole purpose is to provide wildlife damage management assistance. We provide assistance to protect agriculture, natural resources, property, and human health and safety. We do that by responding to individual requests for assistance. There was talk at this last meeting about how we just drive around willy-nilly and we shoot stuff out the windows, and that's not the way we operate. And there was discussion about you don't even know if we're working in Scotts Bluff County. That's not the way we operate. We have individual ag producers that call us and they request assistance from us to resolve a problem. It could be a beaver problem, it could be a prairie dog problem, it could be a coyote problem. The list goes on and on. We are not hunters. I mean, we are here to provide a service to the taxpayers of Scotts Bluff County. That's what we're here for. We're not here to go hunting. We're not here to go out and have a good time. We're here to protect agriculture at the end of the day. The way we do that is we enter into cooperative service agreements. Our program historically has been made up of federal funds, historically I'm talking, federal funds, state funds, and cooperative funds. One example of cooperator funds is county funding. That's one example. We administer those through cooperative service agreements. They're year-long, 1 year long is what the work financial plan is for. And it's a cost reimbursable agreement. If we work for you in the county, you get a bill. If we don't work for you, you don't get a bill. It's none of this, I don't remember it working that way. It is. It's a cost reimbursable agreement. We enter into that cost reimbursable agreement with a work and financial plan. The work plan states what our goals and objectives are. We're gonna respond to requests for assistance. The financial plan, it's an estimated financial plan based upon what the need is. It's not only what you guys feel the need is, but it's what the taxpayers feel the need is. To be honest with you, $12,000, that's the lowest amount of money that any county in Nebraska has provided toward wildlife damage management. $12,000 isn't gonna go very far. Let me give you some examples. Dawes and Sioux County, right now, Dawes and Sioux County combined, they're funding a position, $144,000 is what Dawes and Sioux County is providing toward the wildlife damage management program. Goshen County, just right across the river in Wyoming from you, they're providing $235,000. That's how much money is coming in from all sources in Goshen County to fund wildlife damage management. What I'm suggesting is the way we used to do things out here in the Panhandle. It was Scotts Bluff, Banner, Cheyenne, Kimball, and Morrill. Those 5 counties helped fund a position. And it's not just the counties that are funding the position currently. We're using federal funds to support this position. What we ultimately need to get back to at the end of the day is we've got federal funds and county funds right now. We need help getting that state funding back. And there's cooperators and stakeholders right now that are working behind the scenes to get that state funding back. I mentioned the last time I was here on July 20th, we did have a legislative bill. The legislative intent was for them to start contributing funding back to the Animal Damage Control Fund. Hopefully they continue that. Hopefully it's an appropriation every year that keeps this operational. Like I said, it's not something that the federal government's gonna fund on their own. The county government doesn't have the ability to fund it on their own. We ultimately need to get that state funding back, because I just was at the Cheyenne County meeting this morning. In Cheyenne County in particular, there was a room full of ag producers at that meeting. They are inundated with prairie dogs to the point they don't know what to do. The amount of damage that's occurring in Cheyenne County, they said, it's beyond, they're throwing up their hands. They need help immediately. The way that we need to get help, there's some private individuals, private landowners that can't afford to do prairie dog control, because the cost for doing prairie dog control it's very labor intensive. And so what do? Their property taxes go up, the land values go up, and they're stuck with more prairie dogs. Cheyenne County is considering entering into this prairie dog damage management plan like Cheyenne County has done, and they're talking about doing forest control down there. We'll see where that goes. But what I recommended to Cheyenne County, we've got 5 counties. Ultimately, if those 5 counties would band together, like Dawes and Sioux are doing, like some of the other counties are doing, if you guys can have those internal discussions and help support a position, we've got to quit this 1 minute, one county's in, one county's out, one county's in, one county's out. We have no program stability to help these ag producers with wildlife damage management issues if we do that. But if those 5 counties banded together, and if they each chipped in $30,000, we would have the ability to provide wildlife damage management assistance to these counties, to these taxpayers. If NACO is right, NACO says that 81% of the land in Scotts Bluff County is used for agricultural purposes. That to me is a significant portion of tax revenue that is being generated from land that's used for agricultural use. So I'm asking myself, why don't we invest some of this taxpayer dollars, like the animal damage control statutes talk about, to help protect agriculture? If we invest some of that money to protect agriculture, these taxpayers are going to turn around and they're going to spend more money in their counties. They're going to buy ATVs, they're going to buy fencing supplies, they're going to buy, the list goes on and on and on. But if they continue to be overrun with these wildlife damage related issues, nobody's going to win. And so we gotta come up with a plan on how we're gonna fund this. Obviously, the model that we're under right now, with this federal county model, they've tried it for the last 40 years, it's not working. The short-term solution is to enter into an agreement with the county to provide assistance in the short term, and that's what I was trying to accomplish to help that sheep producer that was losing lambs to coyotes. I was trying to get him immediate relief by entering into an agreement immediately. I based that agreement off of the agreement that you guys had previously in 2024. That was for 300 hours of service. And that's small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. As part of that legislative hearing that we had this last session, the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association asked me to do an economic impact summary report. And they wanted me to look at just losses to the beef cattle industry in Nebraska. So we took the beef cattle herd from 21 to 25. We took the predation rates. It's been about 5% predation rates up to there, an average of about 3% if you look at it across the board. So if you've got a 3% predation rate in the absence of no wildlife damage program, and you implement a wildlife damage program, you can drop those predation rates down to below 1%. So if we're at 3% and 1%, that's 2% difference. Just that 2% in savings to the beef industry alone, $78 million per year is what we're looking at. $392 million over that 5-year period from 21 to 25. That's just one issue. That's just predation to beef cattle. We've got a whole long list of other issues, of wildlife damage related issues. Prairie dogs are one of the biggest issues in Nebraska, especially western Nebraska. So I hope that I've shedded a little bit of light here. I don't know how this conversation can get so twisted and out of, I mean, I don't know. I'll leave it at that. And we've got some other ag producers here. My phone, just on the number of complaints from Scotts Bluff County over the last 6 months, I quit adding them up because I didn't know what to tell them to do. I mean, we don't have a county agreement. If you want a county agreement, I gave them 3 options. You can fund the project yourself. You can fund the project, and you can take a bill to the commissioners for $1,000 a piece per incident, or you can convince the commissioners in Scotts Bluff County to enter into a cooperative service agreement. Some of them just don't have the time in the day to come and talk to you guys about these problems. Some choose not to come and talk to the problems because they want immediate relief. And I don't know what to do, but my phone rings off the hook from these panhandle counties. And at the end of the day, do I start entering into agreements with those individual people and have those individual people bring a bill for $1,000 per incident? If 30 people do that, and I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have 30 people in Scotts Bluff County that want help the minute we start doing it, that's gonna be $30,000 right out of the gate. There is no cap on the animal damage control statutes. There's no ceiling. It says the county shall reimburse each property owner up to $1,000 per incident. What the other counties are doing, and the animal damage control statutes go on to say, you can take that approach, or the county can provide whatever amount of funds they deem necessary to fund the wildlife damage management program. So don't get lost in this first part of the animal damage control statute. You don't have to do this matching $1,000 thing, 50%, whatnot. All the other counties in Nebraska, they recognize that those are county taxpayers, and they're already paying taxes, and they're already losing money because of a wildlife damage related issue. So they call that their contribution. On top of that, there's federal funds that are going into this program that are contributing to this cooperative program. And so I rambled enough. I would like for some of the actual taxpayers in Scotts Bluff County here to come up and tell you what wildlife damage management maybe means to them. And then after we do that, I'll certainly entertain any questions that you got.
Let me just mention a couple things before we go to them.
Yep.
At that meeting, which, what did we say it was?
July 20th. Yeah, is when I was here.
We passed a motion here that said we wanted to prepare an agreement as quickly as possible for $12,000 and get it signed so that you could proceed with helping Mr.
The
Rush.
sheep producer, yep.
Right, and, so as that started to be prepared with Jason, then the number was 12,800, a little more than what we talked about. But then the question came up, well, so does that pays for $12,000, and then after that it stops, right? The service stops
It would if you wouldn't amend the agreement.
and add more money.
Yep, and
Right.
so in the current agreement, in the cooperative service agreement, Article 4, Section number 3 says that the commissioners would allow the Wildlife Services Program to charge up to whatever amount is in that financial plan. If we get halfway through the year and we're out of money and there's still ag producers calling wanting help, we would have to come back, we would have to have another discussion with you guys, and we'd have to say,
How much do we?
here's what we've done so far. Do we amend the agreement and keep going, or do we just stop service for the rest of the year?
And I wanna ask or mention that, as far as I know, I don't remember, other than Mr. Rush being here, I don't remember anyone submitting a bill to us for that $1,000.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone ever has.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Since I've been here 7 years.
yeah, and I mean, if that's the approach we wanna take, I mean, I'll go enter into agreements with individuals and I'll give them a bill and they can bring a bill, I mean,
Right.
if that's the approach we wanna
And,
go down.
well, that's not what we decided July 20th.
Okay,
We decided 12/8. I believe that, we could still do it. One of the big questions then also that came up was, so do the first 3 customers use up the 12,000 or 12,800, whatever we wanna call it? First 3 customers use that up, we do or don't add to the money, and then, where do we go from there? How is that fair to everybody? And so that question came up. I think that's legitimate. But in any event, that was then the questions that we wrestled with, I believe. And, but I do believe we need to hear from
Yep.
other people, landowners and whatever, and we need to hear what they have to say. And, so maybe we should go to that, but I
Yep.
do wanna remind us that we did say,
We agreed to that.
we had a motion to pay the 12/8, we had a motion to put the agreement together as quickly as possible, and then
would you read the
Jason
motion for us, please, Kelly, that was approved at the July 20th meeting? Could you read
I
that?
don't know.
While she's looking it up, I'm gonna
Yep.
ask you a question.
Yep,
Without this,
yep,
without this agreement, we are still by statute required to pay up to
Absolutely.
$8,000
yep,
per
per
incident,
incident,
okay?
yep.
Now, we have an agreement for $12,000. What's the difference between us not having this and just pay the $1,000 every time somebody brings something forward? Or designating $12,000 for you to go out and take care of it, which you would be doing whether we had this or not, correct?
Correct, yep, yep. So, I mean, it makes things simpler. I mean, for a county that chooses to participate in the cooperative program, the framework is already in place. And it doesn't matter whether the clerk gets the call, or one of you guys get the call, or we get the call. If there's a request for assistance, the framework is already there.
Right, up to the $12,000.
Yep.
Then after that, you're standing here in front of us again saying, we're out of money.
Yep.
And we still have work to do.
Yep,
So that's been the confusion, because we've had discussions
yep,
for years, actually, about
yep.
what this does for the county or
Yep.
what it doesn't do for the county.
Yeah,
And I think that needs to be explained.
Yeah, I mean, it puts the framework in place to provide a wildlife damage management program is what it does. And it simplifies the process. If we had the county agreement, any taxpayer in Scotts Bluff County could utilize the program immediately. It's no different than you get what's the van that takes people to appointments? You pay.
Transit van, yeah.
Yeah, you pay so much for that per year.
Right.
And they call up, they schedule a ride to an appointment, and it's part of a service that the county offers.
So we know how much it ends up with. It doesn't they don't keep coming back and saying, hey, oh, by the way.
And you know what? It doesn't matter whether you have an agreement with me or not, because the way the statute's written, you could have 100 people bring you $1,000 bill,
But
and there's no cap.
But now
And
we
you're
haven't
still
had-
doing the
we've
work.
had no one.
Yeah.
Up to now.
You're
we've
still
had no
doing the
one.
work.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think the
Doesn't have-
reason.
You don't have to do the work,
Yeah.
somebody else could.
Yeah, I
Right.
think the reason is that nobody's brought you the bill is because I haven't wanted to go down that path. I would rather come and talk to you guys and let's enter into a cooperative program together and let's help solve some problems. Let's address the specific problem. We don't go out and hunt all year long. We go out and we assist with individual problems is what we assist with.
Okay,
So-
that just, a little light just went on. Mark,
Yep.
your comment about not knowing how many, if anybody brought a bill. I can remember, and I wish I could remember his name, that would come here on a yearly basis, giving us a report on sometimes how many,
Yep.
sometimes how many acres, sometimes whatever the amount of work that they did.
Yep.
And we didn't get a bill. That might be what you're referring
That's
to.
it, he was with USDA.
No, but he was a USDA guy. I'm talking about, I've never seen a bill presented from the, landowners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen it.
because
Yeah.
everything went through this.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, historically, everything
Yeah.
has gone through the
Yeah.
cooperative service agreement at the county level.
Right.
And it's just a much cleaner
That's
process.
why we
Right,
have.
but that hasn't, we haven't had one of those for years.
The last one you had was 2024. It expired
2
on
years
June 30th of 2025.
And we had,
But we had, yeah. But I don't-
and we have met with other counties at our NACO regional meeting in Bridgeport. And we've talked about it, and certainly, yeah, we haven't had any response that they wanna do it.
Yeah. Cheyenne County, I mean, they seemed, wanting to, I mean, they invited me to their meeting and they wanted to know what we could do and there was a boatload of producers in the room. And we met after the meeting in the courtroom and they asked a bunch of questions. They've got a pretty bad problem. I'm going to Kimball County in the morning. Kimball County invited me to their meeting. They are trying to find a way to get some help with their issues. And so,
So without this agreement,
yep,
without this agreement, we are still obligated at $1,000 per incident.
yep, per incident.
With this agreement, you're not going to be bringing bills to us until it reaches that threshold of $12,000.
Yeah, this work financial plan would allow us to provide assistance, and it doesn't matter whether it's us taking a bird out of a grain bin, and that might cost $100 for whatever, or it could be prairie dog control that might be a section of prairie dog control, and I don't know what that number is off the top of my head. But we're not gonna use $12,000 on the first 3 phone calls. That's just not even feasible.
Possible.
No.
What would you say your average amount is that, because, I mean, like, you just took care of a couple coyotes or
Yeah.
whatever, and,
We need to be billed for that. I mean, that's.
right,
Well, we can't bill you for that because we don't have an agreement in place.
right,
Well, we'll
but
be
we
good.
said we would.
Okay.
We said we
In
would.
my opinion, we
Yeah.
said we would, in
We
my
said we would
opinion,
and
Yeah.
we will.
we
Okay.
agreed to 12,000, and I don't have a problem with agreeing to this agreement at 12,008. And I think we should, but quite honestly, I have had some people from the public say, let's just pay the $1,000 per incident. And will we ever go more than the 12,800? Now, based upon the number of bills that I've seen people present,
It's like, keep
but
in
you're
mind.
thinking only 2
Yeah,
years
keep
would-
in mind,
that they would have done.
historically, Scotts Bluff County has had a cooperative service agreement with us.
I agree.
And that's why you've avoided the $1,000 bills per incident. But, I mean, if we open that floodgate, that floodgate might not slow down if
Mark,
we
in
open
20
that up.
in 20-plus years, I don't ever remember approving a bill for any type of predator removal. But we may have done it, but I sure, because we've always had
Yep,
this in place that took care of it for
yep,
us.
yep,
The last USDA guy, I don't know if you call him, federal
yeah,
trapper or whatever.
yep,
He came in here and he stood right here and he said, told us that he was working for 5 counties. I said, so how do we know when you're working for us? Well, he said, I'll be working here, and he said, when I'm up this way, I'll come. And he didn't live here. He lived down in Broadwater somewhere is where he lived. So we never knew when he was here now. But we'd get a bill, and he would shoot coyotes, he would shoot, fox, he would shoot bobcats. And I couldn't figure out why in the world we were hunting bobcats. I don't know what they'd kill other than chickens. But, I thought, well, that's, and I'm probably the one that said, the guys drive around and basically they're shooting, cause he would sit here and he'd have a whole
Yeah.
list of stuff that he drove around and shot, and that's
On-
what he was doing.
Yeah,
And-
on the bill, it doesn't list the
well,
specific
but
species.
he did, he
Yeah.
had it on his
just-
bill, and he
brought-
showed us what
yeah.
he shot.
He brought like a summary report
He
of the
brought a summary
activities that he
report, and that's what
conducted.
I'm saying, but he told us that he had 4 or 5 other counties minimum that he was working for.
Yep.
And I was just trying to figure out how he had time to come and work for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, and
He
that was,
lived in Broadwater.
that was part of the discussion in Cheyenne County today. Cheyenne County said that they didn't know if all 5 counties would go in on this, and they talked about, does that mean that we would take a larger portion of, when you divide it out, it's 417 hours. If you divide 2,087 by 5, each county would be estimating a budget. That's where I got that $30,000 number. And then on top of that, it would open up the ability for us to use our plane in Scotts Bluff County, or those 5 counties. And the county would be responsible for half of what it costs to operate that plane. And then the federal government would pay the other
Do we
half.
get to authorize that as well? Do we have any authorization authority, or does it just get, or we just get a bill?
No, it would be part of this agreement. And so when conditions warranted it, we typically use the plane for kill complaints.
Right.
And if we had a
But you
kill.
would make the decision whether
Yes.
or not you needed the
Yes.
plane.
Yep.
It wouldn't be us.
Yep, correct, yeah. It
But
would be us.
if we've already hit 12 grand, you wanna hire an airplane on top of that?
Well, I'm
I'm
gonna,
wondering where we're gonna get the money. I mean, we're on a budget.
Yep.
Our budget
if
is
we've
so
already
tight.
hit the 12.8, he doesn't have any authority.
Yes,
until
he can
we-
come, until we come
until
back,
he
that's what
comes
I say,
back.
when he
Yep.
comes back, and then he, that's right.
Yep.
Got some constituents
Well-
that have asked to comment.
Yeah, and I think
Yep.
we should let them
Yep.
comment.
Jump in here.
And then I'll just say that I'm of the opinion we ought to agree to
Well, we
this
already agreed to
agreement.
doing that. I
We
think
virtually agreed to
We
it.
did, we gave him our word, and I
And
think we gotta
this-
stand by our word.
The amount is slightly different. I think we'd have to have a new motion, but even with that, I would be okay with it. But anyone that wants to comment, come on up.
I'm Tom Thomas, TOMTHOMAS. On the past, well, we have prairie dog issues, and like part of the other people here are same issues. So, been trying to search a way for the last several years to, one, try to take control of them. Others, we have neighboring properties that have been infested for years and haven't done anything about it. At least on the surface, they might be behind the scenes, but prairie dog thing is getting completely out of control. We have one farm this year, neighbors cross the fence, so we have an 80 with a pivot on it, neighbors have an 80 beside us, and the prairie dogs pretty much stayed on their side of the fence until this spring or winter, and the prairie dogs that came on that 80 that they hadn't been on before and consumed 60 acres of it, so 3/4 of it they moved in within 3 months. So I mean, there's literally holes, I mean, within 20, 30 feet apart. So they get a hole 30, 40 feet apart, and then they dig one in between, then they dig one in between over here. So basically it takes productive farm ground and makes it zero, because when they're inhabited patch of land, they absolutely clear everything off of it. So they'll clear 10 foot around every hole, or it'd be 20 foot diameter, 30 foot diameter around every hole. So my biggest issue is trying to find some method or some enforcement to get some of the people to be able to control their prairie dogs and not let them all basically run rampant. So I started doing some searches and what have you, and I came across, well, one was a legislative act that Nebraska passed. I called Mr. Isaac on Friday, discussed things with him, and Nebraska legislature has a act which the USDA guy said 2 counties in western Nebraska are part of it. And so it basically compels landowner to take care of their issue or treat their issue. If they don't do it within 60 days, the county treats it, puts their bill on the tax, goes part of their tax bill. So basically compels somebody that says they don't have any money, don't have time, don't have whatever, to actually do something about the problem. Prairie dogs are tremendously territorial. They'll start out in one small corner, pretty soon it's bigger, next year it's bigger. This year, and I'm not the only one, there's many, many others here, they've absolutely exploded across the countryside. And these towns, as they get bigger and bigger, I brought a bunch of maps, but you guys probably don't want to see them, but just the town that is beside this 80 that we have, it encompasses 285 acres just contiguous from one landowner to the next, to the next, to the next, before they spilled over onto us. So the perimeter of that map I drew out was 18,200 and some linear feet. So Prairie Dog Town with ease can grow 100 foot in a year, just outward. In the spring, their pups come. They have 3 to 6 pups a year. If half of those survive, they're averaging two pups a year per female. And typical burrow, what I read, would be 3 females to 1 male. So the amount of animals increasing is just incredible. So if they expand 100 feet just on that 18,000 foot perimeter, that's 40 acres they just gained the next year. The next year they gain 50 acres, next year they gain 60 acres. So it's a problem that will never go away without very strong management or eradication practices. There's a couple towns. There's one on Bald Peak region, probably encompasses 1,000 acres. There's another one on County Road G, between G and H, or G and F, probably 1,000 acre town. And those things are absolutely going everywhere. We have 5 spots right now where they've come from the neighbors over onto us that they haven't before. So I'm looking for a long-term solution. One of my neighbors I talked to, they said Goshen County helps discount the bait. Goshen County pays 75% cost on the bait on a cost share deal. I don't know what other services they provide. Beyond that, everybody has, well, not to say everybody, most people have a few prairie dogs here and there. We have some pasture land below the canal, and we've had 20 acres of prairie dogs or so in the past, or still have. Neighbors had 60 acres here, 80 acres here, 100 acres here. So I called the guy from central Nebraska, tried to get him out here last year. We were all lined up to do it between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and talked to him every few days. Yeah, they're coming with 6 to 8 rigs. They can GPS, they can locate every hole. It's like $30 an acre or whatever. We were gonna treat 100 acres total between us and the neighbor right there. And I'm all for it, you know, I'll spend 30 bucks an acre, 50 bucks an acre, even if I have to. And had a little bit of a weather delay. Comes down to the time they're supposed to get here. Well, I'm busy, I'm not gonna make it, and then he won't answer his phone. So, trouble with the prairie dog thing is there's very few people that are licensed to go out and do it. And getting them scheduled and keeping to a schedule is next to impossible. And you can only treat from the fall to the spring when the vegetation is less, so they're not out feeding, you know. If you drive down Morrill South Road or South Moore Road from 92 going that way for the first 2 miles, in the mornings when I go down checking pivots, there's literally between 200 and 800 prairie dogs eating along the highway right away. I mean, literally they're just thick as you can. I mean, you could club them with a bat when you drive by. I mean, they're so thick you couldn't miss one. So the other thing it's doing, the county highway, which that's your highway, I believe, is South Moore Road is your highway. Is that the one you maintain?
South Moore Road, I think, is 92's.
Right. So they're eating underneath the surface of the highway. So they're excavating underneath the highway. It's not going to be too long before the edges of the road are going to start caving in where the holes are at. I mean, they've actually got giant burrows underneath the highway right now. And they go from those properties over to, which another landowner is here, he's having the same issue. They're going over onto their property. There's another huge town that we're having problems with over on, it'd be H and 6 is over there, been there for years and years and years. And anyway, still there and growing substantially. The same landowner basically took over their entire pivot this spring. So, I mean, there's literally holes on every inch of that pivot. We're having trouble with them coming across the ditch onto our farm. About 20 acres they've embedded on ours. So we have at least 5 or 6 places the prairie dog issue is a major issue. I mean, with a few phone calls, there could be 100 instances that would get called in, they could come out to treat. I mean, literally, it wouldn't take very many phone calls. There'd be 100 instances that I could get USDA to come out and treat. So I've got 5 alone. Some of these other guys got 5 to 10. So the dollars, like he's saying, they're going to add up tremendously fast. In my opinion, $12,800 doesn't even touch the surface. I mean, he's talking 140,000, 160,000. Some of these counties treating prairie dogs. If the word gets out and there's a plan and a way that we can compel some of these people to treat their areas that are encroaching on neighbors, I mean, the number's gonna get, I'm guesstimating just in Scotts Bluff County alone, there's gotta be probably 100,000 acres of prairie dogs right now. If you took every single town, encompassed every acre, I'll bet there's 100,000 acres of them right now, so. Just the ones I know in western Scotts Bluff County, there's probably 3,000 acres or 4,000 acres just in a 12 square mile area, so. Anyway, just my thoughts, so we would appreciate some help, and,
Appreciate it.
and, I think other people have the same opinion, so, thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? You'll be next, ma'am. No, go ahead, sir. No, she's, I was saying for you to come on up. She'll be after you.
Steve Pitts, STEVPITTS. I'm a landowner beside Tom, and the problem, he said, is definitely $12,800 will not fix nothing. It's so bad, and you're talking about your little pink cards here, you know, set assessments and all that. There's some of that land isn't worth nothing anymore. And these prairie dogs just keep eating it up, moving on to farms that people are actually really trying to do something on. And they're getting extra taxes charged to them through the county and stuff on land that it's not producing anything because of the prairie dogs. Either if it's pasture, or we got to move into this spring, like Tom said, we had to move into a field that's planted sorghum this year because of the water situation. They moved clear through 160 acres, clear to the top. They moved through, and they weren't there even in the spring. They just started moving, and the drought has really helped that out, the moving them, because they don't move into tall grass or something. So anyway, we need to do some sort of deal in the county wide, you know, to help prevent some of these farms from just falling apart, because it's going to fall back on the county eventually through taxes. Because you can't tax somebody on something that's worthless.
Okay. Ma'am?
Molly Float, MOLLYFOLOT. Nebraska Farm Bureau actually just put this policy into effect in December. I was actually on the delegates that helped vote for this policy, and it's initial prairie dogs. We support reinstating the prairie dog as a predator under the state law. We oppose any agreements between the state of Nebraska and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency to protect the prairie dog. We believe the federal and state governments should impose prairie dog control programs on the borders of all public lands where they border private property. We oppose the establishment of a state prairie dog protection program. We oppose programs we support programs designed to help landowners in the spread of prairie dogs on private land. We urge the Department of Department of Agriculture to issue a special needs label for the use of Rosal pocket gopher bait for the use of controlling prairie dogs. We support the use of other anticoagulants for prairie dog control and on U.S. Forest Service ground. We do believe the federal, state, and local agencies should work more closely with private landowners to address the removal and remediation of prairie dogs. So I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Everything I've heard these people say, we would agree with that.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else?
Mark,
No.
one thing I was just gonna clarify in terms of, which is something that resident just mentioned, is, you know, so you've got two separate sets of statutes, and this gets into the weeds a little bit, but you've got what kind of these animal control, damage control statutes that refer to predatory animals, and those are defined. And that's where you potentially would have to match up to $1,000 annually per approved program. Prairie dogs are not predatory animals under the $1,000 statute. So with prairie dogs, there's a Prairie Dog Management Act that basically says that counties can adopt by resolution a coordinated program to manage prairie dogs. And we heard a little bit about notices can go out and somebody can have 60 days to take some action unless their eradication program's gonna take longer, and that cost can be put on the landowner. But I think what the Wildlife Services representative is saying is in that statute, the county can cooperate with Wildlife Services to have a program. But I just wanted to, I know Mr. Parsley had asked about this question to me outside of the meeting, is whether or not that prairie dogs fall under the predatory animals or not. And right now, that's not included in the definition. That's not to say that prairie dogs aren't a problem and that the county can either come up with, if they choose, a management plan on their own, where you're giving notices to landowners and potentially they have to come up with an eradication plan, or it indicates that you can cooperate with, USDA, Game and Parks, United States Fish and Wildlife Service, and come up with a plan that way. But I just wanted to, Mr. Parsley had asked that question to me before the meeting, and I just wanted to clarify.
It's good information, cause we were lumping those together.
So
Right.
basically, we have no plan on prairie dogs, the way we said.
Right now, we do not have a plan on prairie dogs. I mean, I think before that was covered under the Wildlife Management Services Plan through the Wildlife Service, but right now, the county doesn't have a management plan individually or an agreement with USDA.
Ryan, is there anyone else here that wants to speak? Ryan, I got two questions for you.
Yep.
Number one, why is it that we have so many more prairie dogs? The drought was mentioned, and why are they migrating so much now versus why did we not hear about it previously? Like that anyway.
I think he hit the nail on the head when these drought
drought.
conditions, and there's
Okay.
lack of food available, so these prairie dogs are on the move trying to
All right.
find food, yep.
And then you heard what Jason said about the predatory animal, and predatory is where the $1,000 kicks in, but with prairie dogs, that's not the case.
Well, I
is
don't
what
know if
he's
that's
saying.
100% accurate or not, because it talks about the individual control of coyotes, bobcats, etc. And then the next sentence says, county boards may also undertake the control of commensal and field rodents, nuisance birds, and other nuisance wildlife if such rodents, birds, or wildlife are causing or about to cause property damage or represent human health and safety threat.
Right.
And then the next,
Key word though there was may,
May,
Yep.
it doesn't say we are required.
and,
I know we have a problem.
but I do know, again, there were two counties, you know who they are, I'm sure, Dawes
that implemented the prairie dog management plan,
Yeah,
that's Sheridan and Box Butte.
Sheridan and Box Butte, right?
Yep.
And they did implement that, and they did, their counties they told us anyway, at the the regional meeting they said that they have a plan in place where they can go out and treat them and end up charging the, landowner.
Yep.
And that, they get complainants from other people. The complainant has to be an adjacent property owner, can't just be someone
Yep.
from the public that just
Right.
doesn't like him or whatever.
I have a question for you, Ryan.
Yes.
On, the poisoning of the prairie dogs. I'm not in favor of poisoning because, we have a real small rabbit population, and I've hunted prairie dogs, and I've seen a lot of rabbits crawl out of a prairie dog hole. And you have too, little, cottontails, they'll come right out of a prairie dog hole. And, when you put poison down their bait, you're gonna lose. Now, are you, I know you are, are it legal to use those propane cannons to where when you kill it and it leaves no residue, that other animals don't crawl in there and die? Bull snakes, I hate to kill bull snakes. I don't kill them when I see them because they eat mice, they clean up a lot of little thing. When we put poison in, anything that crawls over that poison is gonna die.
That's not true. No, they don't crawl over the poison, and it's not a contact toxin, it's a toxin that they would have to ingest. So whether it's Rosol or whether it's zinc phosphide oats, there's specific use restrictions that you have to apply this product. It's EPA use restrictions that if you're a certified applicator and if you're following the guidelines, and if you're applying it according to the regulations, then, I mean, that's the law, the label is the law.
Have
So-
you used a propane cannon or have you been around them?
Yeah, I mean, what you're referring to, it creates a shock wave, and it's not necessarily for prairie
Well, what
dogs.
it does, it burns them internally, cause they inhale propane, when they ignite that, it totally burns them internally.
I guess I've never heard of that control method, to be honest with you. That might be something that's in your.
Well, it fills a
playbook.
hole full of propane, and when you light
Yep.
that, it's just like a bomb.
Yeah, that's not something that we would undertake. No, we would use one of these approved methods, whether it's a fumigant or a toxicant that's registered for that use, and going out and setting the prairie on fire, and then we've got a
Well,
bigger
there's no
problem.
prairie, it's just
Yeah.
a flat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we would have to depend upon his expertise. Surely he has more expertise at this than what we do, but.
I'm learning, I'm just
any-
asking to learn, I'm not
any-
asking to, I'm not teaching.
Any one of these people could do it on their own. They can hire
It-
their own people, in fact, they tried to,
Yeah.
right? And, it didn't work out, but any one of these people could do it on their own.
That's correct.
If they had a
Whatever way they
applicator
wanted to do
license.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually, an applicant license, I know this because I have one.
Yep.
If you do it on your own property, it's about a half a day worth of class and $50, I think.
I'm
And
not
then,
sure
and
too.
then you can go out and
Do yours.
Yeah.
do your own property. That's right.
Well, in this whole thing, I think we made an agreement with this guy at 2 meetings ago. I think we should continue to honor that, and I think even though this is $800, I don't consider that to be significant.
Well, he went out and did what we asked him to do that day, and then I
Right.
think he eradicated,
Well,
Some kind
I would recommend not using the term eradicate either, because we're not here to eradicate wildlife. I mean,
Well,
prairie
you took
dogs.
care of the
You
problem.
took
Yeah,
care of the
yeah,
problem.
we eliminated the problem. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, for the livestock.
And I think he did that, he did it in good faith,
He
as
did.
far as, what we were talking about that
Yep.
night. I think we ought to continue with this agreement.
I think we should give it
Then-
another year and look at it.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, we'll hope that money lasts,
Yep.
and we'll see how far it goes. And then there's a good chance I'll be gone, and you'll get to end up dealing with these folks,
So do we,
for the next one.
Chairman Harris, do we need, a motion? Cause
Yeah,
I would
think
move
we've
to-
already, we approved it, other than the fact that it
I
is
was gonna do
higher.
it.
Do you want
I think we
a
had-
different motion?
Yeah, I
amend
think
that
that,
amount?
you know, we
The
were, he
revised-
was, you know,
Okay.
the authorized to enter into the, go ahead.
Initially, what we did was approve the two of you to come up with a draft.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, that's what I was getting at earlier.
He
when I asked
provided
to
the
look it up.
draft.
Yep.
So now
So
it's
now the
to you
motion-
to,
Go ahead.
do you like it?
Right, so
For
now
them
the
to
motion
approve.
would be, approval of the proposed, so there's two documents. One is the cooperative service agreement, and then the second is the work financial plan that sets out the, $12,822.44 and, allocates the, personnel number of hours that are gonna be allocated to the plan, so.
So
I
my
would
motion,
move,
go ahead.
I would move to approve the cooperative service agreement and the work financial plan of $12,822 with the Department of Agriculture, Wildlife Services to include prairie dogs. I don't know that it's included in the work, financial
Yeah.
plan, but I would include it.
Yeah, with, it's, from our perspective, it's wildlife damage management in general. and-
Which includes prairie dogs.
Absolutely,
I would second the motion.
All
absolutely.
right, then let's be sure it's 12,822 and 44 cents.
Oh, yeah, 44,
I'll give you
sorry.
the 44
Okay?
cents.
Don't wanna cut them short.
Just so we don't have to rewrite it.
Okay.
All right, so, we have a motion and a second to approve this plan, which I think we approved in, concept, and we agreed that we were gonna do this, and I think we're not fulfilling our obligation if we don't,
I agree.
so,
Oh,
all right. So, is there any other discussion?
Yeah, I have one more question. We talked about neighbors, and maybe they're not willing to let us
Can you,
on the property. Allow us to be on the property.
Yep.
To eradicate their animals. You know, what are we gonna do with, how do you operate with a neighbor that isn't gonna let you trespass or get on the property?
Yep.
You're under the fence to take care of the
Yep, that's where, what we've talked about, the example that Sheridan County and Box Butte County implemented. So it's a prairie dog damage management plan, and then they enact like a prairie dog damage management board. And essentially, it's the commissioners that act as the prairie dog damage management board. And then there's a framework in place that, and don't quote me on the exact numbers, but those property owners that won't do prairie dog control, the county then forces the individuals to create a buffer around their property where the prairie dogs are spilling over into the neighbor's property. And then, like was mentioned earlier, that you assess a tax lien on the property, and that's how you recoup the cost of the service.
Where do, I don't even get how would you set a tax lien? You mean you're gonna go in and kill those prairie dogs anyway?
Yep.
And then you're gonna assess these folks?
Yep.
Well,
The
and
cost-
when he says that, we have to set that plan up.
Correct.
He's not setting.
We don't
it
have
up.
a plan, no, we don't have a plan.
But we don't have
Yep.
one now. We would
Yep.
have to do that.
What you need to review is, I would recommend that you review the Sheridan County agreement.
Right.
They're the ones that started it.
Right.
Review that agreement. That's what Cheyenne County talked about this morning, and they're on the fence also on what do they do, because it sounds like it's just as significant down there that they've got to get ahead of it.
Right. And we talked to Sheridan County right there at the table down at Bridgeport for probably 30 minutes about what they were doing, but
Yep.
we didn't get it. We need to get a copy of their written plan.
I think I
and what
learned
it
more
looks
tonight
like.
about prairie dogs, just from
Right,
here
right.
and from you, than
Yep.
what I've heard in all the NACO meetings that I've been to.
Yep.
We got one other fella that would like to comment, and then we're gonna hopefully vote. Sir?
Steve Pitts. Just thought I have is there's a lot of prairie dog holes along county roads, you know, like Tom mentioned earlier, they're eating the roads up and stuff. I know as a landowners that we own to the middle of the road. County has the right of way for what, 30, 40, 50 feet, whatever the right of way is. That area should be controlled like the county does the thistle program. I don't know how your thistle program's set up.
We do the same
But the
thing.
county's pretty good about coming around and they're spraying thistle, and that's costing the county money. Well, really the thistles they don't hurt me near as much as the prairie dogs are, cause I can control the thistles in my fields. I cannot control the prairie dogs in my fields. So I think there ought to be a county program to work on getting rid of some of the prairie dogs that they have. You go down that South Morrill Road, and there is prairie dogs like no other along the road right away. Which I don't really have access to doing anything on the road right away necessarily.
It's our property.
It's not your property. I
It's
pay
leased,
taxes on
Yeah,
it.
exactly,
Yeah.
but
We
it's,
We control
maintain
it.
the
we
right of way.
control
You
it.
control it.
We
Right.
control the
Therefore,
property.
you ought to control your prairie dogs.
Right.
I think we ought to be a customer of USDA. We ought to call them up and say, hey, we need
Well,
some help.
We got a job
My
for
thought
you.
is, if you control your prairie dogs from crossing the road, then I won't have to worry about the prairie dogs over there.
Hey,
There's your buffer zone,
You keep
right
those
there.
other prairie dogs on your own side though now.
I
Well,
understand what you're saying, and
okay.
we'll try and work on that.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Sir, come on up. Hang on, Ryan.
Mike Edwards, M-I-K-E-E-D-W-A-R-D-S. So just sitting back there and listening to Ryan and then talking about the different counties that have banded together, I would suggest that we talk to Ryan about the best practices out there. And I would suggest that we form a bandwagon. The more counties we get together, then the more help we're gonna get.
There's no doubt about it. In
Because
fact, this
That's
originally,
what he's working on, I
the
believe.
plan originally started with 11 or 12 panhandle counties.
Yep.
There was never agreement on it. Finally, 5 counties got together. And they did it for, I'm gonna say, 6-8 years maybe, as a 5-county together. But I agree with what you're saying, but it's a whole lot easier said than done.
I would agree, but you know, it's very interesting to me because I've been out of state for a while, but I'm born and raised here.
Sure.
But it's interesting to me because most people that I run into don't realize that there's a western Nebraska. They figure it ends at North Platte.
Yeah.
And so the more counties that we're able to pull together, and I don't know how you're gonna do it, but we need to pull together on something like this, cause it's an epidemic.
We have another NACO regional meeting, September 23rd, I believe, in Bridgeport. And we'll, at the very least, we'll bring it up again, and we'll try and move towards something. One of the other issues that I would only say here, and Steve, you've been mentioned in this, but we don't have a staff person that deals with this. It's not any staff person's responsibility, okay? And then I remember, I think it was Russ that said at one time, you know, it seems like a whole lot similar to our weed program. And that if we're doing that for weeds, this program would be similar to the weed program. And then that's when we started looking at Steve, because he's the weed guy. And,
I think what we ought to do is let Robert do it. He hardly has anything.
we could use that excavator and dig up a bunch of prairie dogs.
He's already got the training, right?
Yeah, I
So,
was
sir,
gonna say, he's
when-
got the certificate. What more would you ask for?
When
Yeah.
you do that meeting in Bridgeport, is that an open meeting or is
Yeah.
that,
I would say it's open,
so
wouldn't you?
are you
Or
gonna,
not?
are you gonna try to encourage landowners that are dealing with the prairie dog problem to show up to
Well,
help you out?
We gotta be sure and, I guess, so what normally happens, they've been there before, and Ryan, and what normally happens, and the best way to deal with it is, this includes all the elected officials, the treasurer and the clerk and all of them, but after about 10 o'clock in the morning, there's breakout sessions, and those breakout sessions, the commissioners are in one meeting. And that's the group we need to talk to. And, that's the group that we need
Yeah, we
to
need to-
focus on.
Like we did with the detention.
thank you so
And
much,
so,
sir.
yeah.
Just a
Appreciate
second, don't leave.
Okay.
What is your ranking?
What am I, what?
What's your rank in the military?
My ranking
Were you colonel?
in the military?
Yeah.
Oh,
Colonel?
I'm a retired major general.
Major general.
That's what I got.
Do you remember back on or Oregon Trail days when that jet would fly over Maine's
That
drag?
was him, yeah.
That's him right here.
That's what I thought.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your service.
I call the question.
A couple of things that I'd like to mention is.
Do it quick, cause he's calling for the
Okay,
question.
we've got the ball rolling here on this state funding. So let's not overlook this state funding. We need these ag producers in the background, and you guys as well, to get a hold of your state senators and let them know what the impact is in Nebraska right now with regard to agriculture, because the one person calling their state senator isn't gonna go nowhere. But if we have a voice of western Nebraska, that's where it's gonna go.
I'm having lunch with Brian Harden tomorrow.
Very good.
He has
And,
a personal relationship with
And
him.
I've discussed this with Brian, and he
Yep.
told me that the government, or the governor is all about this.
Supporting?
The government's very
Yep.
supportive on this.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Just in closing, on prairie dog damage management, in 2026, it's a cooperative program where the county pays for our time to go out and apply the bait. The landowner pays, for the non-treated bait, it's $2 an acre, the untreated bait, the pre-bait, and then the treated bait is gonna be $6 an acre. And that's what the landowner is responsible for. So just so that you're aware of what the
Okay.
cooperative program is there.
Thanks. All right, so we've had, called for the question. So, any other discussion up here? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
All right, motion's carried. I appreciate that. I think we owed that to him, and,
Could you sign this for me?
sure.
Steve, come here a second.
You guys.
Yeah, I gotta sign those.
Behind you.
I know.
There's 2 places.
At one time, no.
It's 6 bucks for the treated bait, and it's $2 per pound, not per pound.
Oh, they,
I said per
Thank
acre.
you.
oh, yeah, they own, they've got two.
Okay,
Yep.
we're gonna try and continue on this agenda. Discuss and consider date January 11th, 2027 for reorganizational meeting. Swearing in ceremony is January 7th. Kelly?
Okay, by statute,
You got a day you're picking around?
we're sworn in the first Thursday after the year of election. So that is January 7th. So I'd like to have all the commissioners sworn in again before we do the reorganizational, and I think we've done that for a few elections for me.
Okay,
And we do have an appointment with the judge to,
and so what you're talking about, let me be sure, is that you would want the newly elected people that morning, is that what you're saying?
on the 7th,
Right.
we are getting sworn in. We have an appointment with the judge over at the district court.
Okay,
Our first regular meeting is January 4th,
right,
but we cannot be sworn in until January 7th.
right.
So I am requesting that our reorganizational meeting be on the 11th instead
Move
of
to
the,
11th.
instead of the first Monday, the 2nd, and then have our regular meeting the week after right away. The 11th and the 18th. We have a regular meeting on the books for January 4th and 18th. But I'm requesting
Move the
Move
meeting
it
of the 4th to the 11th.
to the 11th and then have our next one. All of the deadlines for everybody, I want them to stay the same for payables and everything, so that's still on track. But to hold the meeting the week after.
I would also suggest that we do the reorganizational part like we've done for ever, is to meet, discuss boards, discuss all of
did
that
you
stuff
want-
prior to.
Is the picture that day too then, Kelly?
Oh,
Say
yeah,
that
the
again?
holiday. There's a holiday.
Oh,
Kelly, is the picture the same day then when the swearing in day, or is that a different day?
I didn't hear the
Picture,
question.
the county commissioner's picture, is that a different?
I haven't arranged that yet to
Gotcha.
even
So that's a
decide.
different day, I didn't remember if that was the same day or not.
I think typically we get it done right before come in early before the first meeting for a photo.
okay. All right, so I think what Ms. Heather, mentioned was that the 18th is a holiday.
Yeah, so
And so instead of the 18th, we're really talking about the 19th, right?
I
No,
apologize.
that's all right. So the 19th, so it would move from the normal date of the 4th, and it'll move to the 19th.
11th and the 19th.
Oh, yeah.
We moved it to the 11th.
Thank you, Russ.
To do what on the 19th? Your reorganization?
The regular meeting.
Regular meeting,
Regular
okay.
meeting.
But I'll repeat what I said. I think we need to get together before all of that, have all of that lined up and ready to go. You don't have to vote on anything. But that way everybody's decided what committees are going to be on, all that's done. And it's just a matter of making it legal at that meeting.
We can do a workshop following the November 3rd election, no problem.
That would be, I think, the thing to do,
Okay.
in my opinion, but.
Yeah, I thought that normally we did it one meeting or two meetings ahead of the actual, so a couple meetings,
Before the reorganizational
Right.
meeting, right.
so late December is when I thought we would have
That's-
done it, but.
Once my canvassing board is done, I can certify elections to you guys and
Then
we'd know who
do it.
was
at the next
duly
meeting.
elected
Then-
to
then
take
have a
office
special-
and get sworn in on January 7th,
Right,
You could have a special meeting over lunch hour or whatever, doesn't matter.
whenever, yeah.
okay, so
That
yeah,
just-
I
that
think
just goes
we
a lot
would plan
smoother.
for that. So, do you want a motion for this now?
Please,
I move to approve the January 11th, 2027 is for the reorganizational meeting, swearing in ceremony on the 7th. And our first regular meeting would be then on the 19th.
no, first, well,
First regular meeting is on the 11th,
On the 11th.
but it's also our reorganizational.
reorganizational meeting.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
So
Hearing
there's-
none, we'll
So
vote.
there's no meeting on the 4th, it's now
correct.
moved to the 11th,
That's
correct?
That's
That's correct.
Okay,
what I've got.
gotcha.
All right, we'll
You're
vote.
it.
Russ, you beat everybody.
Yeah, you did.
You have
I
5
did.
yeses.
All right, motion's carried. Well, the next item, discuss and consider meeting dates for budget hearings. Robert?
That's correct. So, I believe we need to have two meetings, one prior to September 1st for preliminary budget approval. As everybody knows, the valuation certification from the assessor's office, my other hat, is due by August 20th. However, they're going to be issued tomorrow, so I finalized those right before this meeting, and they're gonna get scanned and sent out to the appropriate taxing authorities, including the board, for the valuations. So, Kelly, I don't know if you have any specific dates in mind for preliminary budget
Okay,
approval?
I thought that was my agenda item, is putting that resolution before them,
Okay.
but, I,
Certainly do that.
all I need to do is figure out our deadlines.
I was looking at the
And
calendar.
I'm wondering if I can just call a special meeting between now and,
What,
I think I have to let me look at an old one, an old resolution
Yeah.
that went before you guys.
I was thinking August 31st, but maybe that's too late.
I am out of town.
Oh,
At
That's
the
right.
end of the month, I will
Okay.
be out of town.
okay, that's right.
when was the earliest date you said you could do it, Robert? As far as your numbers go?
Well, we get the numbers tomorrow, and the same as all the other political subdivisions, and it's gonna take just a few days. So,
But
we can
you
do
could
it,
do
do
it
it
as
as quick
early
as
as-
possible, yeah.
A week from today, or?
I think that would be fine. Cause we,
It would just be-
definitely wanna do a second pass on it
It would be a
before.
Monday is the only reason I say it.
Yeah.
We're used to those.
That works for me if it does for Kelly.
Generally speaking, it's a, how many meetings can we do it all in one?
The preliminary?
Has to be, yeah. Do we
I
have to do a
believe so.
preliminary and then
Final, the final approval after the joint public hearing on the 23rd.
oh, yeah.
But
that's
before
after
the
that
30th,
now.
because we have to submit budgets to the APA by the 30th.
So this first one would be only considered to be a preliminary,
Correct.
and it has to be finalized after the joint public hearing, which is different than what it used to
Right,
be.
just in case the board decides to go a different direction after the joint public hearing.
I would like to fit that preliminary levy, because Robert needs those numbers, because they are part of our budget. Between the 24th or 25th of, I don't know if I have time to publish. I could at least have it prepared by then, because I won't be here 27, 28, 29.
I'm not
30, 31.
available either one of those 2 days. I'll be in Colorado,
24th and 25th.
24th, 25th.
And then,
You might be gone too.
26th, I'm fine. I have an appointment at 1 o'clock, but I could do it before or after. I'm all right. 27th is open.
Can we consider the 26th or 27th?
Sooner
I
the
would
better.
prefer
I think
not
I'm gonna
the
be out of town on
27th
the
if
27th.
possible.
I'll be gone
Okay.
the
You'll be
27th.
gone
I
on the
won't be here.
27th.
Alright, she's gonna be gone how about the 26th?
I think I can make that work.
August 26th
That's what's being,
for
What-
preliminary.
What time are you looking at doing something, you think?
Can we do it in the morning?
need to be
Just
done
gonna
by
just.
Whatever time you guys want to.
If we did it in the morning, I'm good.
how about 10?
10 o'clock on the 26th? That works.
Okay.
That'll be good.
Are we on the same page, Robert? Preliminary levies is what I wanted to schedule a special meeting for.
Okay,
What are you talking about?
budget.
So like a budget workshop, or what are we doing?
Yeah, just wrap up, cause right now our preliminary budget is based off of estimates
Okay,
from the assessor's office, different hat.
okay, so I need to
those are
get,
gonna be finalized tomorrow.
but
and
I
then we
need to
can-
get these calculations done for you then, because they're part of ours.
Right,
They're part of our levy,
So
so
the
you need that.
26th at 10 o'clock? Is that what we're doing?
Well, let's plan that, we're gonna need that no matter what.
yeah.
Okay,
But, okay, so let me go back. Do you need one before that? I guess is the
I think we can do it all on the same day, can't we?
Okay.
Or no?
you would have numbers from me. I'm gonna try, you get me numbers tomorrow,
Yep.
so that I can get them input, so that you can double check
So I
my,
can review 'em.
proofread my
Yeah.
work
It's enough time for
and
me.
we'll be
if it is
ready.
for you. Yep, we're good.
between me and you, and then you have to put it before them.
Can't
Yeah,
change
if we
it now,
could
it's
do
in
it
my
in,
phone.
yeah, if we can do it in one meeting, that'd be great.
I think we
That's the way
can.
to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock start on August 26th,
26.
Yeah.
and we'll
That'll
hope
get
I
us-
can.
So
I have
we'll be
time
ahead
to
of
advertise.
schedule because having the levies, we'll be ahead of schedule because of the other political subdivisions. They don't have to give them to you until when? September 4th?
We've ever done it this early,
No.
huh?
No?
Their budgets aren't even due until the end of September.
Right.
They don't.
Oh, you already have their preliminaries. That's right. Okay. I was thinking that getting their preliminaries.
Yeah, this is just
Okay.
another step because they're part of our budget.
Yeah.
So if we have that meeting
Part of our
on
levy,
8/26, then that'll take care of everything until after the joint public hearing.
That's right. And then we'll have to have.
But then he has to have
Then we
his
finalize.
public hearing for you
Yeah, to
to
finalize the
finalize
budget.
the budget.
So that has to happen sometime between the 23rd and the 30th. And hopefully
26, 10 o'clock.
Say that again? 23rd and 30th of,
September.
September. Right, because you can't do that, you have your final budget hearing and approval until
Till after that
after the
joint
joint
public
public hearing, right?
and that joint public hearing again, we said was,
26th, or 25th of Sep, excuse me,
20
23rd of September.
23rd of September at 6:05 PM in this room.
right,
6:05, 10/23rd. That's it.
So we just have one more date to figure out what we wanna do there that
Right.
last week in September. I would like a couple of days to make any tweaks last minute tweaks before I send it into so I'd like to do it at least
State
2 days before the deadline.
At 10 o'clock. So you're looking at the 20th or 21st,
No,
September?
it has to
No.
be after the 23rd, but before the 30th, and I'm saying
Oh,
I'd
oh,
prefer to
oh.
do it the 27th, sometime between the 23rd and the 27th.
so I guess recommend a date to us and
2 of those days are weekends, or the weekend.
Nice. Well, it narrows it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So. Maybe the 25th? It's a Friday.
Thursday or Friday,
Of what, September?
September.
Of September, yes, sir.
The 25th?
I would propose September 25th,
At what time?
whatever works for the board.
I put it in my phone.
You put it in your phone? Okay.
I gotta
Put it in your
I
phone.
gotta put a time in there, I
You
can't.
tell me what time you want to do it. I'll be ready.
which one is it, September what?
25th.
and this is our budget hearing.
Budget hearing, yep.
What was the date at the top of that form? That was not the public hearing? What was the September?
For the
25th?
contact form?
The thing we were talking about.
Preliminary budget.
First thing this morning.
Oh,
That contact form says September 4th.
That I copied from the budget and gave to you.
All right,
Oh,
what time do you wanna do it,
I
folks?
don't remember. It's on my desk. It was last week in September.
There was a date at the top of September 15th, and there was one at the bottom for September 25th.
So that's 25th is after the joint public hearing, so.
so September 25th,
Maybe I
can
missed
we,
what you're saying.
can we declare that to be at 4:30? Would that work?
Sure,
Be our normal time?
Works for me.
okay, except for it's on a Friday.
All right, so,
Friday last year too.
yeah,
Yeah. You remember. Lose your Friday.
4:30 on a Friday, you sure?
You'll have to have something to go home and celebrate about, right?
and
It's over.
I hate to say this, but can we review, I got 5 or 6 dates that we need to be sure and have written down or posted in your, but we said,
Can we finish this one first?
I thought we did.
Are we doing it at 4:30 or in the morning? When will work for?
4:30 in the morning would be
Okay.
best for me, but
All right, that's
I'll be
fine.
here. If you work for me.
I will, yeah, Robert and I get up
Okay.
early. Okay, we'll declare it to be PM. How's that?
4:30 in the, 4:30.
9:25.
In the morning, you're switching it?
No,
No.
I'd like to, but
Robert, we'll
Some-
recap the meeting dates and send the board an email
I think that's great.
tomorrow.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's do that, and then you can enter it in your calendar. Cause we got a lot of dates,
Yeah. I
To
think
keep
I have,
fresh.
yeah.
and I'm writing things.
You're gonna send us an email?
all right, I'll recap these dates when I get to my board and staff report. We'll talk about it.
Do we need to
All
have,
right.
do we have to have a motion or approval for these dates or no?
It says on here, discuss
Discuss
and
and
consider
consider.
meeting dates.
For budget hearings, that includes all those budget hearings as far
Yeah.
as you're concerned?
Yeah.
Workshop and.
Alright, so it seems to me we did two of them. So I'll move that we have a preliminary budget meeting on August 26th at 10 a.m.
Yes.
And then also a final budget meeting on September 25th at 4:30 p.m.
Okay.
Correct.
I wrote
We got a meeting before that, 23rd.
on the 23rd is the pink postcard meeting, which we don't anticipate being part of, but I think we'll worry about those requirements later.
I'll have to be there.
You're right. And maybe one of us, but Kelly has to be there.
I don't have to, I can appoint a designee,
Yeah, but you're,
I don't trust anybody to do the report, so I'll be there.
alright, so two budget meetings that we're talking about, so that was my motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses?
Okay, motion's carried. The next item is discuss and consider a new cybersecurity training policy, number 1740.000. Robert?
Yes, so everyone should have a copy of this policy in their packet. And, I've been talking about this for a really long time with the board about cybersecurity and, the lack of our county employees taking said cybersecurity training. This kind of puts a little bit more, it's actually a policy. We don't currently have a cybersecurity policy, which I think is foolish because we need to make sure that people have access to our systems, are taking this training. It's a video course, 10 minutes, once a month. There's no excuse for people not doing it. But really, this kind of states that there is a policy that you need to do the training the month that it's received, that we're tracking it, and we're gonna receive, people will receive late notices, which they already are. We're sending those out from HR. And also that there could be other implications as far as if they don't require or they don't complete a couple of sessions, that there could be, and I say could be, we want people to be compliant and just take the course is what we want, but suspension of network access, including email, internal systems, and disciplinary actions. So this was presented to the personnel board, and it was approved by the personnel board. Again, we don't want anyone to get disciplined or anything, we just want them to take the course, because it's the best thing for the county. So since the personnel board has passed it, they asked me to deliver it to the board for your consideration and approval if you see fit.
Okay. Is there someplace I can come and do it? I cannot.
I can set you up. Yep,
I
absolutely.
cannot get, I've tried.
Yep.
That's not that I've ignored it.
And,
I've just
and
not
I
been-
would say
I've not
that for
been
any
able
of the
to do it.
commissioners, if you just need a designated place,
Yeah.
I can make that happen. I have
That
an
would be
extra.
great. Honest to goodness, I've tried. I've tried to get into it, to do it, and I can't.
Yeah, we can make that happen, and, yep.
Good.
So, of course, I'm on the personnel board committee, and I would only tell you the only things that were disappointing to me was that, and I don't believe that, this talks about the commissioners needing to do this. Although I would argue that we're somewhat an employee, but we're also an elected official.
That's right.
And it does not require elected officials to do it. And Gene would tell me not only does it not require elected officials to do it, but it doesn't require their deputies to do it. And it doesn't require the commissioners to do it, I think, because we're elected officials. I don't like that, but
Yeah, I believe that to be true.
Yeah.
But the best thing for the county is that the elected officials realize, hey, this is a good thing, this is a good example for my employees, and I'm gonna do it. And many of the, not all, but some of the elected officials already do the courses on a
Right.
regular basis.
and we appreciate all that.
And if you're using and connected with county websites and everything else, whether you're elected or you're not, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
It's a
to do.
risk if you don't have that training.
Yeah, you have a risk.
Ms. Kelly?
I just have one thing. I wanna know why we have to get yet another email from HR when Huntress reminds us already if we haven't taken it. It's one more thing to clog up what we do every day when we get one more email that isn't necessary. But we are getting reminders from Huntress already.
Well, it seems to me that HR has some bite to it and Huntress doesn't.
That's right.
Anybody in my office has taken their training. I am
So
the
you don't
one
have to
right
worry
now
about it.
that hasn't because I'm working on other stuff and I'm
And
gonna.
Goes to everybody.
And I haven't either.
And if you talk to John, they will see that I pass the tests
Yeah.
when we're getting fished.
Well, I'm
So-
just gonna say something as a commissioner. If we expect our department heads to ensure their people take the required training, we better be taking the required training. No excuses. I get behind once in a while, but I take the courses. And actually, I'm learning a lot. So, I don't care if you're elected or not, you're setting the example. You're the person in the leadership position, you better be doing your stuff.
Cause we could talk about it here in an open meeting or so, if we had to. That's some of
Right.
the best way to bring attention to it. And,
Take it all together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could even do, we could do it right here during a meeting.
You can teach us.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway.
We can do a name and shame right in the meeting if you want to.
I think this is a good start. I wish it required other people to do it. But Gene would tell us that by statute, we can't do that. And, but if we could do it, and again, remember, this had to come through the personnel board.
Correct.
This couldn't come from us. Had to come from the personnel board, but I'm glad that it was brought up. But I think it's the best policy we have right now.
We can
Maybe.
have another level of enforcement to make sure that people are doing it. I mean, if somebody comes in and I turn off their access, they're gonna get the picture real quick.
Most people will
Yeah.
get excited.
Yeah.
You vote on this?
Yeah, so, yeah, we're ready for a motion, I think.
I move that we approve the cybersecurity training policy number 1740.000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. So the next item,
Okay, so the next item is, it's a revision to a current policy, which is the personnel records policy 3300.000. And really, you can see at the bottom of the page, the attempt here, and again, this went through the personnel board and was approved by the personnel board, but it's attempts to guide everyone that if there are employment verifications that come in, because people will call in and ask for employment verification. We've had instances where people have given too much information, or people have given information out that shouldn't be giving information out. So this really restricts it to that coming to HR. So it could be Charlotte or Kim or myself to do the employment verifications. That's why it's housed in one place. We have a singular policy, and because we know, and it has to be in writing, from the requester. So that kind of just tightens it up. It's not a massive problem. We haven't had any lawsuits or anything over it, but you want to be very careful on what you release to a potential someone who's doing an employment verification. So this kind of controls it.
Right, and it was brought up at personnel meeting. Obviously, if it's over the phone, you really don't know who you're talking to. And there's no guarantees of that, and it puts us in fact, it was reported that there's, collection agencies fishing all the time to try and get information on employees, and we shouldn't be just giving the information out willy-nilly, so to speak. And that it needs to be done in a professional process, and if it has to be done in writing, going through the HR office, they have the official information.
Yeah, and we've found, we get, even in HR, we get that, but whenever we tell some individuals, not a lot, but sometimes, that's great, you need to put that request in writing, they go away. That tells you that they're not legit, they're doing something else, they're fishing for something else.
But you brought it up too, Robert, you need to be so careful what you tell somebody about an employee or even an ex-employee.
That's correct.
You can really get yourself in a bind.
All right, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the revision of personnel policy of 3300.00.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve the new personnel records policy 3300.000. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote.
You have 5 yeses.
Motion's carried. All right. So that brings us to old business, which there's none. Then it brings us to public comments. The Board of Commissioners will receive public comments on items discussed at this meeting or suggestions for items of discussion at a future board meeting. The board will not take action on comments presented this date. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak tonight? All right, seeing none, we'll go on. Board and staff reports with discussion. So we'll normally start with staff. Sheriff, are you still back there?
Yes, sir, I am, and I don't have anything for you.
Okay, thank you. John?
Nothing.
All right. Cindy?
Real quick, I just,
Oh,
Not that quick.
yell at me.
Yeah.
we have 3 new employees that started. We had one that left, so I do still have one position open. But I'm close to fully staffed. I just wanted to share.
Are we still using the traveling?
No, we haven't used them since November last year.
Okay, didn't know, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, thanks. Heather? Steve?
Two things. I think all of you seen a letter from NDOT about the bridge tonnage signs that was passed around. I guess, I don't know, there must be a county not in compliance, but I don't think that was meant for us. We've been in compliance and have been for years and continue to do the tonnage on the signs. We actually had a bridge audit here, I believe it was last year. They come in and inspect your files, make sure all your tonnage information in your files and your SIN sheets that are in that, and we passed with flying colors, so. Then the other thing is, I sent you a late email today about a little polling thing that, in Minutair, they want us to rip up for them. I don't know if that'd be a problem or not, I didn't think it would be, but,
I just answered it.
I don't know what they're called, Panhandle Polling Tractor or
Tractor
something.
pull,
Has a
tractor
little polling stretch in
Nonprofit
Minutair.
tractor pull.
Yeah, and they wanted to know if we would go in with the grader and rip it up for them. Probably gonna take 20 minutes, so I think everybody but Mike. It must be this weekend, he would like us to do it this week, so it must be this week or something like that, so. That's it. So, that's it.
Thanks, Steve.
It's gonna be this next week.
So, Miss Kelly, we'll
Yeah.
go to you and then we'll come back over
I
here.
don't have anything.
Okay? Jason,
No report, thank you.
Robert?
Just a few things. So, been pretty fast and furious in the assessor's office, so I'll put that hat on for a minute. So, today, as required, we completed and submitted a school report to the state, which also includes a growth report for the county, and certification of values. I finished those right before this meeting, and those will be going out tomorrow. So, everybody, all of the political subdivisions will get those. We have some things we have to do before we send them out. We have to scan them, we have to copy them, send them out via email as well as hard copy. So, I'm not gonna comment on that, but I will say that, the process went very smoothly this year. So, we're done a couple of days early. So, that's always good, cause it gives all of the political subdivisions a little bit more time to, do their preliminary budgets. And also, from an accounting and HR perspective, really been spending a lot of time on the budget and making sure we have that roll-up budget which the commissioners have. And, so, I think we're in a really good spot as of right now. We'll see once I put in the numbers for the growth and for the, actual total valuation, should be higher than what we originally projected. So I think we're in a really good spot. And if anybody has, I know the commissioners have the preliminary roll-up information, so if you guys have any questions on that, let me know.
Okay.
That's it.
Road and Bridge finished, chip sealing Stiegel Road last week. You didn't tell about that, so I'm gonna tell on you. But anyway, it really came out nice. They got a really good, they did the whole thing, 12 miles chip seal. Took them, 3.5 days that you were done with that. That was really a nice looking project.
Where at, Russ?
Stiegel Road from
Thank you.
92 to Highway 88, well, no, it's just to Banner County, I guess. It doesn't quite go to 88. It goes 4 miles short of 88, so. But it's all done. They put in, it's a full 12 miles right on the nose. 3.5 days, I think that's a pretty good, I mean, they're only doing, they're going a mile down and a mile back, so there's actually 24 miles that they traveled with that machine and spread 24 miles of gravel and tar, so that's a pretty big accomplishment for 3.5 days.
Okay, Mike?
Went out and rode some ditch banks with a farmer or two. We probably need to start sending these irrigation companies notices to spray their bindweed and thistle. A lot of those ditch banks are just a blanket of bindweed and thistle. They're not spraying them. Then I got to meet the 3 dispatchers in training. Got to talk to them. I think we got 3 real good ones. They're excited about learning, so that was always fun to see them. Thank you, Celinda. That's it.
I think I should mention, our meeting that we had with Bob Hessler.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should mention that. So Bob Hessler, had called a meeting, he had called me and asked if I would be interested in hearing his thoughts about possibly, combining the boards of the, communications board, I call it the 911 board, with emergency management. And, I said, well, Bob, I'm always willing to listen, and, so I don't know who all was, called in and invited on that, but, Cindy was there, Randy Meininger was there, Mike Blue was there, I was there, Tom Shingle, Rob Crowder was there, and Bob Hessler. And so we talked about it. These guys, I told Bob Hessler, I said, if I go to it, I'll be looking to two people that I think have lots of expertise in that area, and that's Mike Blue and Randy Meininger. I said, I'll be interested in what they have to say, and so I was really happy they were there. I got to hear it firsthand. And anyway, I think there were lots and lots of questions asked, questions brought up, whether or not it could even be done easily. One of them is a board that is established by state statute in simple terms. The other one's simple by interlocal agreements. So I just want you to know that that's going on, that discussion. I don't even know that we did we set a date to meet next time?
Not yet.
I don't think we did. But there were one of the things that they said would help no matter what, even if nothing else got accomplished, that if those two boards could meet back to back on the same day, back to back, because most of the people that's on one board is on the other board as well. And it would save some of them from some drive time and things like that. Then there was some other things that we thought could be helped and looked at, but anyway, I don't know where that will go. There's some that gave some indication that they could be in favor of that. There's someone said, we'd have a whole lot of things to iron out. I'm not sure we can even do it. So it's just was talked about, and Bob Hessler is the one that started the discussion, so I want you to be aware of it. I'm gonna go through these dates, whether you like it or not. Our next meeting is not until September 8th, and that's also a Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday, okay? Tuesday, September 8th is our next regular meeting. Again, I'll mention on September 23rd is the NACO regional meeting in Bridgeport.
District, but
District meeting.
same.
Yep.
It's our joint
And I
hearing
think those
too.
are some officer elections at that time, maybe.
Is that the
right?
joint hearing too?
No,
Does that mean
yeah, it will be. That's my next time.
Right.
Okay.
you read the email from Susanna already?
Yeah.
Good job.
So, then, same day, 9/23, 6:05 p.m., the pink postcard meeting, joint, what do we call it?
hearing.
Joint public hearing.
Right.
And so we'll see what entities have to be there. But anyway, that'll be happening. Remember, it's here.
But we don't have all the board on that normally, we just have.
Well, we're hoping not to be part of it. We're not done with that yet, but we're hoping not to be part of it.
Right.
Even if we were a part of it, you don't all have to be here.
No.
That's
But
right.
one of you must.
And that rule's changing next year, is it? It's slightly different, I
We
think,
don't-
next year.
We've
Yeah.
got enough dates in our head right now. Let's don't do that, please. Please,
Yeah.
please.
So, anyway, remember, August 26th, 10 a.m.,
Budget hearing.
preliminary budget. September 25th, 4:30 p.m.,
Final.
finalize the budget. Those are the dates that I have. Just wanna be sure we're all on the same page.
They're in my phone, so it's a done
They're
deal.
locked in.
It's a done deal.
Yeah.
You can't change it, so.
All right, that's all I have.
Bridgeport, then you have the January 11th and 19th meetings as well.
Yeah, and because
think we
they're
got
so
enough
far
time.
out there.
Yeah,
We
the
got
Bridgeport
And I
meeting
won't
will
be
be
part of
done by
those.
And-
1 o'clock.
Mark
I
really
didn't write
doesn't
it
care
down,
about what
'cause
happens in
I
January.
won't be part of those, so. All right, that's all I have.
I don't have much. I went to the Kaplan meeting. They did get some good news on some funding on the, I don't wanna say homeless, Monette, what would you, it's not the homeless, it's the emergency housing things. On the youth shelter and the emergency places, which was really good. It's a good meeting. I wasn't able to attend the other ones. I ended up, it doesn't matter. I wasn't able to attend, last Thursday, so, that's all I've got.
Matt?
Yeah, this last week, obviously, the Old West Balloon Fest, I thought really good turnout. I saw Mike at the pilot meet and greet, and it really looked like a good turnout. I had an opportunity to go up in a balloon, which is a chance of a lifetime, and so that was pretty cool on Saturday. Next week is, National Park Service Week, and I think most of you got an invite from the Jay Sturdivant at Scotts Bluff National Monument. He's planning a bunch of different events out there and at Agate Fossil Beds, but
What's it called?
inviting,
What'd you call it?
well, it's the National Park Service Week, but he's got different events this next week that we can attend. So, and I'm going on Tuesday, but there's a lot of other dates that are available if you can still sign up for. That's all I got.
Okay. I didn't ask really about legislation, but I'm assuming you would have covered that.
Nothing new.
All right. Anything else? Meeting's adjourned. Steve, I have some of yours. Maybe it needs to go to Kelly, but.
What's that?
Come see me tomorrow.
Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.